Oh, one of my favorite days of the week, Wednesday. Because we are this close to week 5 of the NFL starting tomorrow night. It is the Carton Show. Good morning, everybody. That guy right there is David Jacoby, never played sports. This guy right here is a Super Bowl champion, but he's an offensive lineman, so in reality, he never played sports either. Oh, okay. That's Willie Cologne. I'm your handsome host, Craig Carton. Great to have you here. Let's get you started with Wednesday, a morning headlines. Jerry Jones is playing mental PhD gymnastics right now. And I love it. 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 Jerry Jones came out yesterday and said, I got to tell you all this. The San Francisco 49ers are most likely the team to win the Super Bowl. Yep. Oh, I'm too smart for you, Jerry Jones. I don't buy into that reverse psychology, mumbo jumbo. I've wasted $100,000 on therapists in the last 5 years. I know all your tricks.
Yeah, if I'm Jerry Jones, I got to be careful because there's another team he has to worry about, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, when they play the Eagles, we'll say the Eagles are most likely.
But at the same time, you don't want to, listen, I understand the Niners has owned them, so to speak, but nevertheless, man, Jerry, you got to worry about, listen, this Niner team, they know what you're doing. They're making it all fluffy and nice for them.
That's right.
You know you have to go down to Levi. You got to try to beat them, so they understand what you're doing.
This is what we call from the 1950s, build me up, Buttercup. That's what this is called right here. No. This is Jerry Jones saying, I think we're the better team. I think we're going to beat San Francisco. I got total faith in Dak Prescott, total faith in Mike McCarthy, but I'm not going to put any bulletin board material out there. So I'm going to reverse psychology it, and I'm going to tell the world, boy, we'll be lucky to even be in this game. I don't know how we're going to stay close to San Francisco. That's the best team in football.
Yeah, you stay close because you got the defense, right? You got the defense, and you got Dak, and you got this offense that supposedly that can lead you to a Super Bowl. So a lot of questions are going to be answered this Sunday. I'm excited to see.
I'm very disappointed with you, Willie Cologne.
What happened?
You're taking Jerry Jones' comments very seriously.
How can you
and that's not the Willie Cologne I love.
You can't win a Super Bowl in one game, but this is a statement game.
Yeah.
You're putting America on notice if the Dallas Cowboys win this
classic double dice. Is you say they're the best team in football, they're most likely to win the Super Bowl. If you lose, guess what? We lost to the best team in football. If you win, we must be the best team in football.
I think it's the other way. I think Jerry Jones is so uber confident that he's going out of his way to butter up San Francisco so nobody can say nothing before the game. And then when Dallas wins, he's going to peacock all over the state of Texas. It's going to be great to watch. Yeah, there's nothing like peacocking, although Willie killed 2 peacocks.
I did.
For another day. Headline number 2. I love this one. Look at that handsome porn star.
What's up with that? It's not November yet.
That's actually Aaron Rodgers right there. And Aaron Rodgers said yesterday, quote unquote, there's nothing normal about how I'm attacking rehab.
What does that mean?
There's nothing.
What is he doing different than anybody else?
There's nothing normal about Aaron Rodgers.
Anything.
Right now, I love the man because he's my quarterback. When he's no longer my quarterback, I'll probably go back to not liking him. But in the moment, I love Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know what he's doing. I'm not sure if he's sleeping with dolphins or he's rubbing special kinds of like that old what was it called? Gold Bomb rub?
Oh, yeah.
The Tiger Bomb, which smells amazing, by the way.
Do you?
I love Tiger Bomb. Really? In any event, he's coming back, and he thinks he's coming back to play this regular season. I love it.
I'm scared because I hope he's not being too aggressive. A guy who tore his Achilles, the worst thing I did, and I started to pick it up, was try to spend every night in the gym rehabbing for the same purpose of, man, I got to get back out there. Listen, if you're going to be the future for the Jets, slow and steady. Zach Wilson, by all accord, showed like the light turned on for him Sunday. Allowed his team to kind of mature and manifest. I hope he's being smart by this. I did not like him without the boot. I know there's like, oh, he should have the boot on. You should be good, feel good that he didn't have the. I needed the boot for 2 months. He's had it for like a couple weeks. 4 weeks.
6 days.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. So I'm worried about him.
To be fair, and I'm not saying this as a shot.
No, yeah.
You're carrying a couple extra 100 pounds.
That's a shot. That's a shot.
That's not a shot.
That's a shot. I'm not
How
saying
you
that.
say it's not a shot?
You cannot say that.
I said all due respect.
Optics show I'm bigger than Aaron Rodgers.
With all due respect, that's a shot.
Hold on. To be fair. The pressure on your Achilles versus his
He's got a much stronger leg and Achilles.
Like, I feel bad for your Achilles.
It hurt. It did hurt.
He said it in the present tense.
Right.
He feels bad now.
As he feels now.
Like your knees are screaming, kid.
Oh, right now. Yeah.
All right, and very quickly, your third headline. We know the things are quickly going south for the New England Patriots, but Bill O'Brien was brought in to try to get the most out of Mac Jones, acknowledged that Mac Jones' performance against the Cowboys was terrible, but he said it was totally out of character. They view it as an outlier game. He will be their starting quarterback as of right now. this Sunday as they try to rebound from that embarrassing loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Look, I respect it. You got to build your guy up. He's a young quarterback in public. But I guarantee you behind closed doors, they are pulling their hair out because Mac Jones has not lived up to whatever expectations they had.
And they haven't been able to produce week after week. And from this standpoint, you look at Mac Jones being a quarterback of the Patriots, man, it doesn't look like he's comfortable within this system with him and Bill O'Brien. It seems like he's regressed. And they cannot have it. They don't make any explosive plays on offense for them to kind of overcome some of their woes. So you have to be concerned for Mac Jones. I'm worried about the offense because they can't do anything. And you saw it in week 1 against the Eagles.
We got a great show for you today. It's Wednesday. We got tons of fun coming up. We'll start with San Francisco and Dallas. Jerry Jones says San Francisco's the team to beat. Are they? We'll break it down right after this. All right, welcome back to the Carton Show. Of course, you got Jacoby, you got Willie Clone. You also have the president of the Daniel Jones fan club joining us, Greg Jennings. There you go. Nice job. That's called loyalty, even in the face of complete, you know what. In any event, good to have you here, Greg, Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer. So Jerry Jones says that the San Francisco 49ers are the team most likely to win the Super Bowl, not just to represent the NFC. And if you don't believe me, here's Mr. Jones for you downstairs home. Go ahead.
They are right now probably the most likely team to go in the Super Bowl. And but in order for them to get there, they've got to go by us. Hopefully 2 times. If that's the way it falls in the playoffs, and we're in the playoffs.
Oh,
that's what I want to hear.
Well, that's a much different thing.
Yeah.
That's why you always have to hear the rest of the quote,
Correct.
which is not just that San Francisco is most likely to go to the Super Bowl. He happens to be right if you take that statement in a vacuum because they are undefeated. They are playing the best overall football on both sides, right? But he added that second line. They, of course, have to go through us. If we're fortunate enough to make the playoffs and meet them, they ain't winning a Super Bowl without beating the Dallas Cowboys. That's the meat of this. That's the Jerry Jones I love.
And when you think about the things that Jerry Jones says, oftentimes it's like, why is he speaking so much? Why? He's not a head coach. He's not down on the field with the guys. He is, but the guys listen to what he says, and he wants a response. Like every player in that locker room that is going to take that field, even his coaching staff, leading by Mike McCarthy, they've heard that comment. Oh, he thinks that they're the most likely team? But they have to go through us. Okay, that's fine, but it's not a pat on the back to a player to say, yeah, they got to go through us when you've just told the world that they're the most likely team.
Does it matter to you guys when you're actually in the middle of it in the locker room, when you have an owner that you know talks a lot, talks more than any of you? If he comes out and goes, they're probably the team most likely to win, but they got to go through us. Either way, do guys really give a damn?
Well, I never went through it because the rulers don't say anything. Actually, they believe in don't saying anything. Don't give the other team bulletin board material. On top of that, Woody, we lost so much. It was really Woody really trying to put out the fires half the time. But nevertheless, when you talk about Jerry Jones, it's a distraction too, right? Because you have to answer about
there
the
you go. You got to answer the questions.
Some of the things that's going on with the defense, and now you have to say like, well, you know what Jerry said Monday? Do you believe it?
Yeah.
And so for me, like I understand this is Jerry's team. He created the team. This is his world. But sometimes I do wish he pulls back. Like we don't.
That's just not him though. Like he's 80-something years old. He's not going to stop beating him now.
There's already momentum going into this game. The Niners are 4-0. This team is 3-1. We know about both teams. Sometimes you just got to let it rest.
Like if Jerry Jones came out and said, listen, fellas, all I'm giving you this week is I'm excited to watch a matchup of 2 of the best teams in football, and we can talk about it afterwards. That's okay?
Because nobody's going to win the Super Bowl this Sunday.
And nobody cares if he says that. But what this does is now it's not that the guys care. It's that they have to care.
Yes.
Like when he says it, it's like whatever. But now once we go to the locker room, we practice, we come off the practice field, the first thing that a reporter is going to say is, hey, did you hear what Jerry said about the 49ers? You're not going to say that they have to go through you guys, but it's going to be that. Now you're forcing me to care about something that I really, truly don't. But now I kind of do, and it gives me a little incentive to go on the football field and prove that, they do have to go through us. Because that's the part that we really resonate.
So what I'm hearing from you two guys is that Jerry Jones knows exactly what he's doing.
What do you mean?
He's going to maybe give you that little extra oomph, the little other goose under your butt to go out there and beat San Francisco so that you could say to the owner, I thought they were the team to beat. We're the team to beat. I like that.
He's a billionaire. There's a method to his madness.
But this conversation is fine to have in January. 4. Not week 4?
Yeah, well, listen, it's the biggest matchup of the year thus far.
Well, I'm sure the team that's drilling the defense down that stance and they're about to snap the ball, they're going to be like, you know what? Jerry said that this other team is likely to win the Super Bowl, so I'm really going to get after Brock Purdy.
I think we make too much of it a lot of times. My gut is, and when I played, I didn't care what my owner had to say. I just went out there and went to play football.
Okay.
That's all I did. By the way, Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, who does nothing but win regular season games, also commented, not about what Jerry Jones had to say, but specifically the game we're all waiting to see, Dallas, San Francisco. Here's Coach McCarthy.
You know, you live to play in these kind of games. You dream about these kind of games. So you don't want to make it bigger than it is. But, you know, it's just not – it's just, you know, the reality is it's not just another game.
Right. I mean, that's as honest as a coach can be. It's not just another game. We know this game has been circled. Both franchises, to be fair, they played each other the last 2 years in the playoffs. San Francisco's got the better of them. Regular season with Dak Prescott there. Dallas has had the better of San Francisco. This is not a regular game. This is 5 weeks into the NFL season, the marquee game thus far this year.
Yeah, and when you think about why it's so important to Mike McCarthy, it's because of what I said yesterday. This has been his kryptonite, and particularly in the postseason. When you look at his record versus the 49ers, 6-6, but look at that bottom.
Oh, no.
0-4 in the postseason. When it counts, he hasn't been able to break through and get it done. That bothers him. That expression on his face is exactly how he's going to go into this week, because it's not just a regular, even though it's a regular season game, it's not to him.
Because if the Dallas Cowboys win, Philly plays the Rams, keep them aside for a second, the Dallas Cowboys could lay claim after 5 weeks to being the kings of the NFC. That would be on the table if they beat San Francisco. But if you put that little stat thing up, see, you guys always see the glass half empty. I'm not your guy on that.
What do you mean?
I'm a glass half full guy. Because you guys see that stat and you guys go, look at the bottom. 0-4. Look at his angry face. Okay, sure. What I see is the one above that. 5 of those losses were by one score, meaning 7 or less, meaning it's competitive. San Francisco doesn't blow Dallas out.
No, but the Dallas offense has only been able to put up 49 points against the vaunted 49ers defense. If you're going to be the guy who's going to be calling plays for the Dallas Cowboys, you have to be better than Shanahan on Sunday.
Yeah.
Can you do it? We talk about the matchup between Kyle Shanahan. If you're talking about Brock Purdy versus Dak, you're talking about this defense versus George Kittle and everybody else, well, you got to put Mike McCarthy up there, too. People are going to be watching how he calls this game.
And can we put that back up, please?
Okay.
Put that back up, because I love that Craig pointed that out.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to point it out because it's a one-score
5 one-score losses, right?
Out of 12 games, Craig.
Yeah.
12 games.
He only has 6 losses. 5 of the 6 were very close games. Could have gone either way.
I understand.
I can make the point that if he wins the one-score games, he's 11-1 against the San Francisco 49ers.
So when you think about that, you can look at it both one or two ways.
Yeah.
Because there's been games that I've been a part of, a couple of those playoff games.
Yes.
When you are involved in those games and then you watch from afar, you're like, man, he's getting out coached. That's been the knock, in your words. That's been the rub on Mike.
Right.
When he plays against the 49ers, and particularly in the postseason, he ends up getting out coached. It's not just focused on the players and what they don't get done. It's okay, Mike, what could you have done better? Because it is a one-score game.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike,
Kellen Moore to hang up now.
Right.
It's just all on
And
him.
by the way, if you watch the Cowboys, and we watched every play of every Cowboy game this year, Mike McCarthy has significantly changed the way they run that offense since Kellen Moore went to L.A. to be the offensive coordinator of the Chargers. Everything is fast now. Dak Prescott gets the ball out of his hands in under 2.5 seconds. I think he's 3rd fastest in the league 4 games into the season. So the difference between the Kellen Moore offense and the Mike McCarthy offense has paid dividends, and you can see it's tangible.
Yeah, because they're going to play behind the defense. We've seen Dak right now is dink and dunk, let the playmakers make the plays, just like Tua is doing behind me. But for Dak right now, it's the red zone woes, right? You got to get in the red zone, especially against an outfit like the San Francisco 49ers, because you know they can put up points and you know they can be a factor late in games.
Coming up after a very quick break, it's Rebound Sunday. I love Rebound Sunday. Yeah, you guys know what that means. We're going to the clubs. It's Rebound Sunday, and it's Wednesday, meaning it's time for another installment of
What the Wednesday?
Both of those things coming up right after this. It is rebound weekend, guys. Get ready to put on your Dracar cologne and hit the clubs with your Capizios on. This old school.
That is old school.
Cavaricci's, anybody? All right, here we go. The Pittsburgh Steelers with a major offensive problem right now. Kenny Pickett got hurt. They're saying he might play in this game. If not, it's Mitchell Trubisky. That offense has been terrible, guys. And now they're playing against the best team in the division currently, and that's the Baltimore Ravens, who took care of a Deshaun Watson-less Cleveland Browns. And here we go. Can the Steelers rebound with a win against the Ravens and get themselves back into the conversation in the AFC North?
They have to, because that was a team loss against the Texans. And I dare to say that I think Mike Tomlin was embarrassed by that loss because they were out physical. And that's not what happens in Pittsburgh. If anything, they've always walked into any stadium and been the bully on the block. And when you see your defensive line, your offensive line give up 3 sacks, and you talk about Kenny Pickett leaving the game injured, and now you're talking about only having 53 yards in the first half,
right.
Mike Tomlin is saying, we're having a problem because now you're our identities. He's even come out and say, hey, man, we're not wearing helmets this week. We're putting on the pads. So a lot of guys who are normally sit out because they got injuries, he's like, well, you're not going to make this trend. Why? Because we're playing big-time football, and we got the Baltimore Ravens coming in.
Yeah, they got embarrassed 30-6 to the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud. I think we all agree. I think we're in unison when we say we all have total faith and belief in Mike Tomlin to figure it out because he's done it throughout his entire coaching career, as you guys famously know, has never had a losing season. But they've got a quarterback problem, in my opinion, and they cannot score points.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think they rebound. As much as I believe in Mike Tomlin, his marriage to Kenny Pickett and this offense is just not working right now. And when you look at what they're facing, what they're going to face on the as far as the opposition, they're getting it rolling offensively.
Yeah.
And defensively, they look a lot better than what any of us ever thought that they would look at this point in the season. So I just don't see how you right all your wrongs against a team that's going to be coming into Pittsburgh saying, we can start to close the door on this unit.
Well, I tell you why, having sat in that room with Mike Tomlin after coming off a loss like that, we've all kind of, you have some things that snag your foot. He's closing the door and he goes, it won't happen on my watch. He's going to start ringing next. He's going to start straightening things up. And he's not afraid to move things around so this team can look better. It's one thing to lose and it's one thing to get beat up. Steelers don't get beat up. They got beat up on Sunday.
I agree that this isn't going to be the year. This is going to be the year Mike Tomlin does not get to 500.
Well, let's see. Let's have a conversation.
Am I going to be the only person that's going to say
We thought that last year.
They're not going to get to 500, and there's no marriage between Pickett and Tomlin. They're not even dating.
They've only played 4 games. You're being prematurely negative, but we will know what you said there.
You'll see.
By the way,
is that a receipt, by the way?
Yeah, receipt.
Under 500 Steelers.
The Ravens are favored by 3.5. Let's move this along a little bit faster. The New York Giants looking to bounce back after their embarrassing performance on Monday night against Seattle. They play the Dolphins, who are also looking to rebound from a 28-point shelling in a loss against the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins are favored by 11 at home. I don't think the Giants can rebound against anybody.
No, they can get blown out. The defense is scared to tackle. They can't do anything on offense. And for the life of me, I don't understand if you're Darren Waller. It's just like we seen Jamar Chase come out the locker and say, give me the damn ball. If you're Darren Waller, start talking to the media. I'm always open. Get me the football. I'm here to catch football and score touchdowns. He's too quiet for me. So they need more out of him, and they need more out of Danny Jones, obviously.
All right, so you're saying the Dolphins rebound, the Giants don't.
Correct.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Gregor.
Man, Danny Dimes has to do something, right? But
can't do anything.
It's not going to be this week.
I
believe in Danny Dimes. I don't believe in this team at all. I do believe it. I can't fully assess him because of what he's under, the duress and all that. But I can't assess this team. And this is not a good football team. No. Just period, flat out play.
If and when they do lose to the Dolphins, again, they're 10.5-point underdogs down in Miami. You do have to start having the conversation about selling. About a guy like Saquon Barkley, who again didn't play last week. There are guys there on short-term contracts that you have to make very tough decisions about. So if the Giants lose that game, it'd be very interesting to see what Joe Schoen and John Mara, the owner of the Giants, decides to do with guys like Saquon Barkley that will get you a decent return from another team. All right, Jacoby, your favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals. Do they bounce back against the Arizona Cardinals? The Bengals are favored by 3 against Arizona. They have not had a passing touchdown in like a month, it seems. Only 2 all year.
The Bengals are favored by 3. Last week they scored 3.
Right.
Like in Arizona, I just don't think the Bengals have it this year. I think they're eventually going to shut Joe Burrow down. It's just not happening in this division, in this conference. You said it before the season started that they would not make the playoffs. I thought you were crazy. Yeah. Now it looks like they're definitely not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm winning this game.
They lost 27-3 against the Titans last week. Their defense didn't show up. Derrick Henry looked like he was 25 years old again, and they've no passing offense at all.
When we talked about this game a week ago, we said that, the Bengals possibly can win against the Cardinals, right? We just chalked it up. Well, the better quarterback is in Josh Dobbs, and we got the graphics to put it up right here. Look at this right now.
Look at this.
Completion percentage, 70% Dobbs. You talk about passing yards. Everything. He cleans house. How is Joe Burrow, who you just paid, the lesser quarterback going into this game? Josh Dobbs was building a robot prior to this. Like, he was working for NASA, right? Like, he was trying out things that aliens should try. Like, this guy is the better quarterback, better than Joe Burrow, who's supposed to be like the face of the NFL right now. So the Bengals have to get him off the field. He's not helping the organization nor the team. It's a wrap, man. I got the Cardinals winning this game, by the way.
Do you? In football, I usually say take the dumber guy, not the smarter guy. But you make a very good point. The mechanical engineer that Josh Dobbs is not only smarter than Joe Burrow. Right now, he's playing better football, too. That's a rare commodity.
It is a rare commodity, but I can tell you why. I mean, it's because Joe Burrow should not be playing football right now.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's just the reality. So I still like the Bengals in this game for the year.
Yeah,
I got the Cardinals.
Finally coming off that wall.
And
by the way, one more rebound Sunday for you. This one I believe is somewhat rhetorical, so if you want to sit there and just look pretty, I can accept that. Will the New York Jets bounce back against the Denver Broncos? Obviously, yes. This is a triple-digit win for the New York Jets.
Go out there, jump out there, Craig.
Here we go.
Jump out there with the
triple digit.
Yeah. The Denver Broncos are not beating the New York Jets. I know the Broncos are favored by 2.5, and they are home. But the Denver Broncos coming off their first win against the Chicago Bears, the Jets coming off the loss against Kansas City. Our quarterback had the light bulb go off. Everyone else is in trouble now in the AFC.
Yeah, and we also got to get a run game going. It's good to see Zach Wilson come alive and making Fisher throws like a competent quarterback, but he's going to be on the road. The Denver Broncos don't have a defense, so it's time to pound the ball and get Breece Hall in the offense.
All right, time now.
No, you're not going to just get me with that. The Denver Broncos, they turned their season around.
Yeah.
Oh, Ray, nobody wants to hear that.
They barely beat the Bears.
And look, and now
They barely beat the Bears.
Barely.
And now
They're
they have
losing,
the Jets.
actually.
This is how you build and stack success. You play 2 poor, terrible teams, even though you're not a great team, and you beat them. The Jets go down to the Denver Broncos.
Listen, I'll say this. I appreciate the fact that you were going to go down with the ship. I appreciate that about you. That says a lot about your character. You are the guy that keeps playing the violin on the Titanic while the Titanic's
flames,
water.
water spouting
But
everywhere.
listen, they write books about guys like you. Remember Billy the violinist? Yeah. He went down with the ship.
Yeah,
his family misses him, but some way he's a great guy.
Yeah, you put him on the street sound.
Exactly right.
Remember that guy?
All right, time now for our favorite Wednesday morning segment, Playing the Sound
What
Boys.
the Wednesday?
I've got some video to back this one up. The New York Giants obviously had an offensive line that acted more like a turnstile at a Philadelphia flash mob. Evan Neal is their offensive tackle. Walk me through as an offensive lineman, Willie Colon. He's circled in yellow right there.
Got him.
Why use a color that people can see? And right there,
Oh, boy. Yeah.
he blocked Darren Waller.
Yeah, that's not
his own
clinic
guy. He didn't block anybody on the Seattle Seahawks.
You know what's bad about this? Because this is 2 guys who play next to each other that aren't talking to each other.
Right.
Seriously,
right.
This is like, hey, you do your job, I do my job, I see how it looks at the end of the day. This is horrible. There's no communication between the 3 of them. That should never happen. You got 3 for 2.
Yeah.
That should be, if anything, they should be it's incompetent how bad that is.
Exactly.
He was like, I gotta hit somebody.
Right. And they hit the tight end who's just trying to do his
Look
job.
at the result. You have two offensive players trying to block one defensive player.
It was 3 for 2. The tight end couldn't even get out of the route.
It's not just, again, show it one more time.
Please. Hilarious.
He shoves Darren Waller out of the way.
Off of the block.
And then doesn't pick up the defender.
Do me a favor, guys. Go full screen so everyone can see it. Watch this right. Get out of here.
Beat it, Darren.
Oh, look,
Come back here.
You might want to say to a young man named Evan Neal, oh, Evan.
What the?
There you go. All right, number 2. We're all sick and tired of the Taylor Swift narrative, and she's now in love with Travis Kelce, going to every Chiefs game. She was at the Jets-Chiefs game on Sunday night. She also took a picture with somebody that's got me pulling my hair out. That's the owner of the New York Jets, Woody Johnson. That's his son.
Look at the chain.
He's still wearing the chain.
They're in the owner's box, and he's summoned for Taylor Swift to come pay homage to the owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson. Taylor Swift was there rooting against the New York Jets, rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. One might say to the owner of the Jets, oh, Woody.
What the?
Thank you very much for that.
No, you got to get that picture.
But he is wearing the chain still. Oh, you got to get that picture.
Yeah, you got to get that picture, especially with your son. You got
It's,
to get that picture.
look, it's the Swifty effect. Look what happened to Kelsey's Instagram, his jersey sale.
Yeah.
You don't think Woody's trying to get more butts in seats?
It didn't do anything for the New York Jets. I can
You're
tell
right.
you that.
100%.
All right, number 3. As you know, NBA camps are starting to open up this week as we get ready for the 23-24 NBA season. Programming note, Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, will join us right here in studio on October 19th, so looking forward to that. The Lakers put out a photograph. Don't put it up yet.
Okay.
The Lakers put out a photograph promoting the big, not 1 in LeBron, not 2 in LeBron and AD, the big 3 that they claim to have this NBA season. LeBron, Anthony Davis.
Give it to me.
And show the picture.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
And the middle spot is the power spot.
Yeah, they're getting the ball, too.
Austin Reeves is now the focal point of the entire Laker franchise. What's going on?
Yeah, he looked like he was at a fantasy basketball camp. Like, it's so bad. You can't say that's the big 3 when you got AD and LeBron, man. He got a hell of a year, got paid. Congratulations.
Circle cut out. He's at the beach. There's a circle cut out.
Yeah.
He put his head through it. That's
And I did
He's
double
definitely
check.
taking the next step.
I did double check. That was not a Make-A-Wish promo shot.
Right.
That's actually Austin Reeves. He plays basketball. What are we doing?
Whatever we want, Greg. Whatever we want.
By the way, I should mention this. Oh, Lakers.
What the?
There you go. By the way, if you're Austin Reeves, don't you have to play and decline that photo?
Oh,
No.
Austin
Don't
Reeves.
you say, I'm not going to get in that photo. That's not for me.
Well, first you got 1, get a tan, right? Do that.
Okay.
2, hit the weight room. And 3, stand on the soapbox, right?
There you
Look
go.
a little kid in that.
All right, I got one more for you before we take a quick break. Tennessee, South Carolina played this past weekend, and there was a guy there that was very excited. He had an interesting wardrobe choice for the big matchup. I don't know how to describe it, so I'm just going to show it to you. Show it.
Need more.
Oh, Dad! Dad, put your pants up, Dad.
Yeah.
Details.
Jesus.
Who's he rooting for?
Yeah.
It was like Santa out of rehab.
The name of the show coming to Fox next week is My 600-Pound SEC Life. So that guy's going to be starring in it. He'll be a guest in studio next month.
That is Santa's offseason.
But if you
You're
look
right.
to the right, look at Junior taking a picture of it in the side.
Yeah, that's his dad.
I'm upset with the security guard. He's getting a little frisky with my man.
He cares about his job.
Yes,
He wants to
does.
get the job done.
Hey, fat guy in the tiny whiteys.
What the? And they're dirty, too.
We
Quick
got
and drone,
much
bro.
more NFL stuff coming your
Dirty
way.
throws?
A little baseball as
did that
well.
happen?
But Jerry Jones is out talking about the big matchup between the Cowboys and the Niners and the red zone problem that the Cowboys still have 4 weeks into the season right after this. Also on Fox is all the postseason baseball. And yesterday the wild card round started. And give a little love to the Minnesota Twins because the Minnesota Twins, your hometown now, Gregor, had lost 18 consecutive playoff games, which is obviously a record and damn near impossible. Many of them against the New York Yankees, of course, a team they couldn't
rightfully
beat.
so.
Well, yesterday, behind a rookie hitting not 1 but 2 home runs, the Minnesota Twins broke that 18-game playoff losing streak to take Game 1 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, this round is the best of 3. All 3 games, if needed, are at the Target Center, right?
Target Center, baby.
In Minneapolis. So congratulations to the Twins and all the Twins fans. And obviously, you can check out all the playoff baseball on Fox throughout the postseason.
Target
all
Field.
right. What happened?
Target Field, Target Center.
Yeah, it's all Target, though, right? Field,
Target.
center.
They didn't lose. They
Listen.
lost 18 straight and they
The
won.
least
one.
important status.
They got great prices on Gloria Vanderbilt overalls. That's all I know. Here's Jacoby now with your first in football.
I want
Yes.
to talk about Gloria Vanderbilt under a but no, we'll talk about the Cowboys because this is a sports show. Jerry Jones recognizes that they've been bad in the red zone, but he doesn't think they'll stay that way. Here is what the Cowboys owner had to say about the red zone struggles.
Make no mistake about it. We are going to get better in the red zone. I'll assure you we'll be better in the red zone than we've been. A skeptic could say, well, it doesn't take much to get better.
Right.
But the facts are that we can get better. when it counts. This weekend would be a good place to start.
Will they be better in the red zone against the Niners this weekend?
Yeah, I can't say specifically against the Niners, but what Jerry said is right. They're going to be better because it's almost impossible to get worse. You know, even in the blowout win against New England, they got in there 4 times and were 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 0 for 3, and then in meaningless time, garbage time at the end of the game, they got that first red zone touchdown. Being Mr. Positive, I look at the positive. They get in that red zone a lot.
They do.
I mean, they're in that red zone more than any other team in football right now, outside of maybe the Dolphins. We'll look it up to give the exact number. Yep. But, I mean, I would take that out of it, that we're really good getting there. Now we just got to close drives.
Yeah, they average getting into the red zone about 5 times. The problem is they don't score when they get in the red zone, and particularly touchdowns. And last year when we watched this team, you know, everybody's talking about, do they miss Zeke? Do they miss Dalton Schultz? I just think it's the style of offense and the mentality that they're approaching playing offense with. When typically any coach, I don't care who you are, the mindset is we want to score touchdowns.
Sure.
Well, when you have a defense that you want to ensure you get points, you walk away with points, you kind of alter who you are. And I think that's impacting how they approach the red zone.
You think they're being more conservative?
I think that it's not even that they're being conservative. But it ultimately it boils down to that, because your mentality becomes, okay, we got to get points versus we're going to score a touchdown.
Right.
When you set your mind on a thing, that's
so. Let me ask you this: if you had a lesser defense, do you think you'd be more likely to take more shots in the end zone?
Of course,
because we need the points.
We gotta have the points.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, fellas, this is why we have dating apps. It's all about scoring, right?
Right.
And so when you think about it in a nutshell, if you go back to last week's game, the defense put up 2 scores, right? The defense is what kind of carried that game against New England. So there is a big concern. You go 1 for 4 against the Patriots, and now you have either 7 of 19 on red zone opportunities. If I'm Jerry, you got to be jumping on the table at Mike McCarthy. We got to get in. We have the Niners. If this is what you've been able to do over the last 4 weeks, if this is your resume, it doesn't look good. Yeah. So if I'm Jerry Jones, man, he has all the right to be upset, because if you're not able to get in the red zone, it's one thing to get there, but what's the point of getting there if you're not going to deliver?
Yeah, now they have the 4th fewest 3-and-outs in all football, so they're moving the ball, obviously. Yes. They're getting the ball down the field, and then they're just stalling when they get to the 20. And let's be fair about it. The touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb last week was from the 21. Which, I mean, it's the same thing. We've invented this concept of what do you do to get to the 20? But at the 21, you know, they did score a touchdown. So I know it doesn't count because it's not officially 20 yards out or less. But the Dallas Cowboys offense, to me, is not a problem. I'm more concerned about their rushing defense, because we saw them get exposed a little bit against Arizona. And what can San Francisco do? They can run not just McCaffrey, but guys like Debo out of the backfield as well. And while Mike is fast, Mike is not, you know, the only guy you got to worry about on that defense. They can expose the Cowboys a little bit by running the football, which is why this matchup, you know, it's like playing chess. It's awesome. What does Dallas try to do to stop San Fran? What does San Fran do to try to take advantage of the only weakness we can see thus far on the Dallas defense, which is their rushing defense?
Moving on.
Sound like I know what I'm talking about, right?
A little bit.
Second up football.
Felt pretty good about
this. Josh Jacobs is tired of losing. They are now 1-3. Remember, he held out during preseason. And here is a disgruntled, frustrated running back for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm tired of losing. Just keep it 100. Tired of losing, man. And I feel like every day I go in there and I work so eventually something got to give. 5 to 6 plays, you do them right. Difference in the outcome of the game. But at the same time, you're tired of saying 5 or 6 plays, difference in the outcome of the game.
They're 1-3. They're not playing well. Do you think that Josh Jacobs finishes the season as a Raider?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would say yes, because I don't put a lot of stock and faith in the Raiders doing smart things for the future of their franchise. I think, if I may, the better question is, for me, does Josh McDaniels survive the season? Because there's been nothing but a failure since he got to Las Vegas, and now it's his second shot at being a head coach in the NFL. Failed miserably in Denver, of course. Took Tim Tebow in the first round to be his future quarterback and all that. And now he's in Vegas. Let's be honest. He's that talent in Vegas. I know we can talk about how their defense wasn't always great, but offensively with Darren Waller and Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr, you've got to win games. That right there, those 4 guys alone win a lot of football games if you're a good coach and put them in the right spot. And think about this. You had a top 5 wide receiver last year, a top 10 quarterback last year, and the best overall running back in the league last year, and you didn't make the playoffs, right? So I think McDaniels goes first, and then Josh Jacobs is in a weird spot. You know, he's in a franchise tag year. So if you trade him, what are you going to get for him? Because some other team's going to have to decide, are we paying the guy or are we going to franchise him? So I think Jacobs is there throughout the entire season. I don't think McDaniel survives it, though.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue is the fact that you got fans now yelling at Mark Davis, right? Like there's a viral clip of fans pretty much, you know,
like enough's enough.
Like enough is enough. And when you talk about, you even go back to Devontae Adams coming out and say, hey man, I don't have time for this. I didn't come here to lose. I came in here to be the winner. Now you have Josh Jacobs saying it. So what happened was going on in the locker room, everybody's pissed off. We're not winning. We look bad, and to your point, they're going to start selling because nothing's working. And Josh McDaniels, by all accounts, he hasn't responded to anything that has happened bad with this team. Whether it's the defense underperformance, with his offense not being able to produce, Josh Jacobs sitting out, forcing to play. He hasn't been able to get him into the offense to be more productive. Jimmy G has been a failure with him being on the injury list. It's been failure after failure after failure, and nothing has come out of Las Vegas. So,
I think they're going to regret not hiring Vic Fangio after he stewarded them after all the John Gruden nonsense, to a playoff, right? And everyone bought into the concept of what he was doing, and then they just quickly discarded him, and they haven't made the playoffs since. So it's a disaster there, and I don't think McDaniels finishes the year.
Moving on to third down, we turn our attention to the Steelers and the Ravens matchup. Mike Tomlin is prepping for the Ravens, and he seemed to love Zay Flowers. Let's hear him praise the rookie.
He runs into dark places at full speed. He's combative in his play. That's probably the platform that provides him an opportunity to make the type of plays that he makes. He will not be intimidated.
Okay, well, there's a lot of injuries for the Ravens, obviously. Do you think that Lamar will lean on Zay Flowers to be his go-to receiver?
Well, I think Andrews has to be the go-to guy. He's got to get back in the business of throwing the ball to Mark Andrews, who finally kind of showed up last week. When you take a look at the stats. But yeah, I mean, you've been on Zay Flowers since before he got drafted, so I'll defer to you. But everything you told us, back in April about the kid has panned out to be dead on. He's a difference maker. He's a all-pro level wide receiver as a rookie, and also not a big guy. He ain't 6'6", right? He's not Plaxico Burress. He's a little guy, but knows how to get open, very fast when he gets the ball. And for a team that has not seen Odell Beckham in reality yet this year with the ankle injury, missed the last 2 games, and was non-productive in the first 2 games for Baltimore. Zay Flowers was a much-needed addition to that offense.
Yeah, and when you look at what he does well, you get the ball in his hands quickly, and he impacts offenses and defenses. That's what you have to do against this Steelers defense, because if there's one thing that this defense can do, they can get after the passer. And so you got a guy like Zay Flowers. This is why he's going to be a rock star in this league, because you get the ball in his hands and he does things special. And for the Baltimore Ravens, they didn't even expect, they knew he was going to play an integral part of who they were offensively, but because of the absence of OBJ, it's like his role has expanded. And so now you're going to get a larger role if you're Zay Flowers. So you're going to start to see his production even continue to rise.
Willie, can you translate Tomlin to English for us? What does he runs into dark places at full speed mean?
It means you wish he had Zay Flowers on his team.
Yeah,
that's
he's a man is what he's saying.
He's saying that he's fearless when he gets the ball in his hand. He's not afraid to go into a defense that's looking for him, pretty much. Yeah.
But we put that stat up, and I think we failed our audience. I apologize for my production team upstairs. He's second. Who's first?
Puka Nacua. Come on.
Who's that?
Puka Nacua.
Say it again.
Puka Nacua.
That's the guy?
Look at this. I was looking at the same thing, Craig. I was like, oh, wait, it's the non-Puka Nacua ranking.
Yeah. How do you pronounce it again?
Puka Nacua.
I ain't saying it. I'll get myself in trouble.
Puka Nacua.
Puka. What?
It's Puka Nacua.
Don't say it.
Puka Nacua. Let's go to 4th and football before Craig gets
tell me we're done. Do you listen when I speak? We got to take a quick break. It's unbelievable. Coming up, is it the end of the road? Yeah! From Bill Belichick. The answer is yes. But for both jobs or just one? After this.
Good morning and welcome back to the Carton Show. We have your headlines, and it starts with the biggest game this weekend, the biggest game of the year thus far. That is The Cowboys and the 49ers, they face off. Jerry Jones did some psychological judo when talking about this matchup. Here's what he had to say.
They are right now probably the most likely team to go in the Super Bowl. And but in order for them to get there, they've got to go by us, hopefully 2 times, if that's the way it falls in the playoffs, and we're in the playoffs.
2 questions for you, Craig. Number 1, what is Jerry Jones doing praising the 49ers? And number 2, is the winner of this game the clear-cut favorite in the NFC?
No, they're one of the favorites, depending on what Philly does against the Rams. You can't discount the Eagles. They're undefeated also, and they went to the Super Bowl last year. But he's being smart. He's like, I'm not giving any stuff to put up on no bulletin board. I'm going to sweet talk you till you forget that I'm a really good team here, too. I love what Jerry Jones did there. And him acknowledging, look, for that to happen, we got to play them a second time, which would be in the postseason. Look, Greg made a point earlier today, for those of you that are just tuning in, and he's right about it. It's a great point. The Cowboys-San Francisco 49ers game in October, while a big deal right now in the regular season because it's a matchup of 2 heavyweights, doesn't mean much from a standpoint of San Fran owning Dallas the last 2 years in the postseason. So it's like when your kid goes and plays Little League Baseball and, he walks on 12 pitches, so they give him a little participation trophy. Billy got to first base. That's what this game is. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to celebrate the winner. We're going to knock the loser as not ready for prime time or not a real Super Bowl threat, whatever it is. But 3 months from now, we're not going to think, oh, they lost on October 7th, they can't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, the reality is if the San Francisco 49ers win this game, we're saying the same things that we've been saying leading
that they're the best team in football.
They're the best team in football.
Yep.
If the Cowboys win this game, there's a little caveat there where, yeah, they beat them, but they still got to beat them when it counts.
Right.
Because they've struggled with this team in the postseason. And Mike McCarthy, it goes beyond the players that are playing on the field. This is a meaningful and important game for Mike McCarthy. Why? Because he's struggled with this team, not just in the regular season. We see that he's 500 against them in his career, but 0-4 in the playoffs. If you look at the bottom, 0-4 in the playoffs, those losses sting the most.
Now, he can't do anything about that on Sunday because it's not a playoff game.
No, but this game is about validation, right? And this is what Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys are fighting for. When you talk about week 1 against the Giants, wop, wop. You talk about the Giants, mop them up. You talk about last week at the Patriots. This is the first outfit where you say, all right, let me see what you really got, right? You've been playing against the JV. Here goes the varsity. They look like the Niners are the most complete team in football. And on top of that, Dak Prescott cannot be outplayed by Brock Purdy.
Bingo. And I think that's the storyline here for me. I've got Brock Purdy as the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
And for some reason, no one's giving him any love at all when it comes to
because he can't score in the red zone.
Well, point is this. When you've got, the quarterback on the best team in football, you got to get some love. But you're right. If Dak Prescott gets outplayed by Brock Purdy and San Francisco wins, 2 things happen. We anoint San Francisco as the best team in football, and outside of Philadelphia, nobody's going to argue that, even in Kansas City, right? But the side story becomes the bigger story, and that is, once again, can the Dallas Cowboys trust Dak Prescott in a big game? Listen, it's a regular season game. Both of these teams, barring a major upset, are going to be in the postseason. We can book that right now. But this is more about the legacy of Dak Prescott going up against Brock Purdy, who's never lost a regular season game, who's now authoring one of the great offenses in football in recent memory with all the weapons he's got. This is about Dak Prescott. If you get outplayed by Brock Purdy, the headline's not going to be San Fran beats Dallas. The headline's going to be Dak Prescott can't be trusted.
And he lost to Mr. Irrelevant, right? And you talk about last year, one of the key matchups was Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott, and Dak did a great job of answering the bell. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and a lot of people brought into Dak being the next heir apparent of just carrying his way, going into the Super Bowl possibly. But they lost to who? The Niners, right? And they lost to a better team. Dak has to answer the bell this game because everybody knows that when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and it comes to possibly beating the Niners, it hasn't happened.
Yeah, and look, this is not going to be a defensive struggle. These teams are going to score points.
Well, we don't know that yet because Tavon Diggs is not in the lineup.
Yeah, so I disagree with that. I do think it's going to be a wash. And when you look at defensively, when you look at these teams last year, both teams could score last year and in the postseason. And then when we saw them on the field, it was like, oh, who's gonna put the ball in the end zone? Dak Prescott Prescott turned the ball over. Brock Purdy did not. They got away with the win. The San Francisco 49ers did. So to your point, for me, this is the first game outside of the Arizona Cardinal game when we kind of throw it away because it's the Cardinals. But this is the first game where we're going to see if Mike McCarthy truly trusts Dak Prescott, because they're not going to be able to just say, okay, Dak, you can manage this game, because we know who they did. We know that their defense has been the best defense on the field every game that they've played. Yeah. But now they're playing against a defense that can contest and say, no, we're the best defense on the field, especially against your quarterback. So you're going to have to see which quarterback makes the plays when they are there.
Yeah, but I respect that, and I don't argue anything you guys said. San Fran hasn't been held to under 30 points yet this year. They're going to score, meaning he's got to lead the Cowboys on touchdown drives. So right now, while we can have fun talking about, their red zone deficiency and the fact that they're one of the worst teams in the red zone, although they do get there quite a bit compared to other teams in the NFL, you are not beating San Francisco kicking field goals. Well, you have to beat them by scoring touchdowns, which is why Jerry Jones said, I know we played at some point again later this morning, forget about them being the team to beat, and we're really good, that we're going to fix this red zone offense hopefully this week. You're not beating them if you kick 3 field goals in 4 red zone appearances. You're just not.
Well, and to your point, what did we take away from the Chargers and Dolphins game week 1? That Tua, every time he needed the answer, had an answer.
Yes.
We're going to need to see that this Sunday. If Brock Purdy and this offense comes out and lights it up, can Dak come back and answer? Because we know the defense is going to struggle. We talk about their not being able to stop the run. You talk about in the secondary, they're great, but not good. Can he come back on the field to answer the bell? Because if Brock Purdy looks like the better quarterback, it's not just about the headlines. It's what's going to happen. And you'll say, hey, is Dak the man for the future? Yeah. That's what you're going to have to start
And here's
seeing.
the reality. Just one last thought on Dak Prescott. He's in a very weird spot because if he plays great and they beat San Francisco, there's still going to be half of America going, do it in January and get back to me. Yeah. If he fails and he throws a couple interceptions, and he's part of the reason, or the reason, that San Francisco beats Dallas, or let me reverse that Dallas loses to San Francisco, the headline's going to blare. Yeah. Dak Prescott, once again, cannot be trusted with the Dallas Cowboy franchise. He's in a no-win spot. Yep. But beat San Francisco, lay it down on the table, and then if you do get to meet them again, do it again. And then no one's going to question Dak Prescott.
The game is so exciting because it just feels like there's so much more on the line for the Cowboys than the 49ers. It just feels like there's so much more at stake for the Cowboys. And they got a
stupid loss against the Cardinals.
But not just, hangs over their head. Dallas is also chasing Philly. San Fran's not chasing anybody. Right? And I know that the Eagles are favored on the road to beat the Rams. So, Dallas has a chance to win and still not be in first place. San Fran ain't chasing anybody. So it is different.
Yeah. Moving on, Aaron Rodgers has a very unique approach to his lifestyle, and he's taking that same unique approach to the rehab after surgery. Here is what the handsome quarterback of the New York Jets had to say.
Listen, there's nothing normal about how I'm attacking this rehab. There is common practices about 6 weeks in a boot, and I was in a shoe in like 13 days. Yes. Again, this is just my mindset, and I believe in the power of intention. I believe in prayer.
Okay, he believes in the power of intention. Who does? He believes in prayer. Craig, I know you're praying for an Aaron Rodgers return to the New York Jets. Is there any chance he plays through the power of prayer and intention this season?
Are you a Buddhist?
Mecca leka high, mecca hiney ho. Mecca leka high, mecca hiney ho. He's back for Thanksgiving.
Oh, God.
Thanksgiving. That's right. The day after Thanksgiving, the Jets play that first ever Friday game in the NFL, and that's when Aaron Rodgers makes his triumphant return and takes the 500 Jets to the promised land. Can I get an amen? No. Look, I will say this. If he wasn't my quarterback, I want to give you the bipolar aspect of my life, okay? Aaron Rodgers is my quarterback. Oh, I love what he just said. He was in a shoe and out of the boot, and he's attacking rehab the way no man has ever attacked rehab before. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's my guy. Now, Aaron Rodgers plays for any other team in the NFL. This son of a bitch is the weirdest dude I've ever seen in my life. He is not living on the same planet as the rest of us. Look, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it was good to see him looking good, feeling good on the sideline of that game against Kansas City, and then up, of course, in the owner's box. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he's doing it, but I'm sure he's got good people and doctors and medical advice around him. I know he's got that hyperbaric chamber in his crib right now and all the other nonsense. He has the money and he has the ability to use the best of the best, whatever that might be, that the average person doesn't get to use. But for him to come back and play this regular season would be akin only to the Adrian Peterson return from a torn ACL rushing for 2,000 yards.
You know why this bothers me? Instead of this week being about Zach Wilson and the game he had Sunday, potentially having a better game on Sunday against the Broncos, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, the white knight coming through the door.
Yes.
Like, if you're big brother, let little brother have his week. The bottom line,
they lost.
But they lost, but he played great. Up until this, you said it yesterday, we haven't seen Zach Wilson play like a competent quarterback.
That's the best game he's played in his career.
Right, so he did that Sunday. Here you go say, hey, I know Zach did well over there, but listen, this rehab I'm doing, you guys got to see me. I'm going to get back bigger, better, faster. But what are you talking about?
Look, this is his weekly thing with McAfee. This is one of those things that, for me, I don't mind it. I actually like his mentality. He'll be 40 in December.
He doesn't have any different mentality than any other athlete coming off an injury.
What I'm saying is, because of his age, no one expected him to approach it this way. Mentally, number one. Physically, we were going to question it regardless because it's like he's older. This is an injury that a lot of guys don't come back from it when they're young, let alone a 40-year-old man. So for him to have the mindset or be of the mindset that I'm going to do something that is abnormal, I get it. I have to be a little bit to the left.
You know him, right?
Yeah.
He's a little different than the average guy out there.
But he said he's coming back.
And he's coming back, which is why, as the Jet fan, keep talking that talk because I love it.
As Jets fans, you should love that he is doing this. You should love that he's pushing the rehab because that means he'll be ready for next year.
By the way,
there is nothing to come back for this year. The Jets will not be playing relevant football games later this season. It will not be happening.
Mr. Negative.
It's just a
Captain
fact.
Negative.
It's the black
here's the
shirt.
thing.
Fair enough.
I don't like you in black.
There was a question whether or not he will retire. So this is encouraging in that sense.
Look,
but there's nothing for him to come back for later
this is
this season.
great news for the New York Jets.
Week 16, the Jets will not be playing meaningful football games.
I appreciate the fact that the franchise has given you no reason to be positive. I get that. I respect that. It's a little lazy, but I get it.
It's a little lazy.
I respect your negative narrative.
He's coming back and winning football games to push them into the playoffs.
He said he's going to be back in the building after the bye week. He's in Malibu swimming with dolphins getting ready.
The Jets schedule after the bye week changes dramatically. As even Greg said before Aaron Rodgers got hurt, they might have been 1-5
So instead of losing to good teams, they'll be losing to mediocre teams.
They are not losing much more this season, kiddo. It's not happening. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to
not losing much more this season. Kiddo. Kiddo is what I really liked on that one.
You're on to that.
Hit him with the LeBron, Craig.
Here is the reality, okay? We're going to have a tough decision to make come Christmas week.
Talk to him.
Oh, yeah.
Zach's playing his ass off.
He's on a heater. Oh, yeah.
Do we replace him with Aaron Rodgers?
I believe you right now.
Do you bring back Aaron Rodgers after, 3 months? After
if the New York Jets
surgery.
If the New York Jets are in a playoff spot come Christmas week and Zach Wilson played his ass off, maybe I tell Aaron to take a few more weeks to get ready.
Do you jeopardize the playoff position by bringing Aaron Rodgers back after 3 months?
He might be rusty.
On a torn Achilles. Yeah,
we'll get there, though, and I'll be sitting here. You'll be sitting there. You'll be there. You'll be there. But that'll be one of the great shows we ever do.
Oh, they're telling me to move on, but I really want to keep going. I really do. Let's move on to the third headline. Moving on to the third headline, we're staying in the AFC East. This time we're talking about the Patriots, another bad team in the AFC East. And here's what the offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, said about his embattled quarterback, Mac Jones. Quote, some of the decisions he made were very uncharacteristic of Mac. He's just trying to make a play. I think you'll see a lot of improvement going forward. Okay. Mac Jones has been bad. This is his third year. He had a decent first year. Do you think that he is the answer? Is he going to stay the quarterback for the rest of this season?
No. I mean, I know they brought Bailey Zappi in towards the end of that embarrassing loss against Dallas for all the obvious reasons, the interceptions, the bad decisions, the bad throws, the fumble, all that stuff. But one thing we know about Bill Belichick, he's not a patient man. No. And when you're getting less than acceptable play from any position, but namely here the quarterback, you don't have a chance to win. right? We've seen it with the Jets. You see it with Carolina right now. You see it with teams out there where the quarterback's not giving you a chance to win games. And you can't do that because then you lose everybody. And there are 52 other guys who take great pride in their performance on Sunday, Thursday, and Monday and all that stuff. So I don't think Mac Jones lasts as the starting quarterback the entire year. I think they might go back and forth from time to time, but it's a wrap. The smoke that I'm hearing that's coming out of New England, though, is not so much about Mac Jones not surviving this year. It's about William Steven Belichick not surviving as general manager.
Oh.
Now, Bill Belichick's the head coach. William Steven Belichick is the general manager, same guy. He goes by William because he's an executive.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
Difference.
Oh, okay.
That's speed date Bill on the right there.
Okay, so
By the way,
Bill is fine. His job is secure.
Bill's going to be all right. Andy Reid Light over there on the right.
Andy Reid.
Andy Reidito?
Yeah, please call me William, by the way. Or Dr. B, if you don't mind. Here's what I'm hearing out of New England.
It looks like he owns a vacuum company.
It's like Robert Kraft is livid. Robert Kraft has no interest whatsoever in another losing season. That's what he's going to get. He put an edict down before the season started. Playoffs or everybody's in trouble, right? I don't think he fires Bill Belichick and embarrasses him after all the success they had. But Bill Belichick, the general manager, let's just be honest about it, William, has just not worked out. I mean, case after case after case, decisions have backfired on him across the board. My belief and what I'm hearing out of New England is that there will be a change, and that change will be a new general manager. And they will tell Bill, just go do what you do best and be the coach. We're going to bring in a proven executive to start fixing the roster we have here because there's no talent here, and that's on you. You coach, we'll get the players, and that's how you keep your job in New England.
So my question to you just said it, do what you do best, which is what?
Coach.
Right? But at this time, he was a authoritative figure, right? That hasn't worked out for him right now because the team doesn't seem as close as intact as they have been in the past.
Yep.
Right now, he hasn't been able to make the halftime adjustments that we all claim he does. And on top of that, there was a lot of onus on Josh McDaniel and Matt Patricia, supposed to be the difference from Mac Jones. They're no longer gone. Now you got Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
He has done nothing with Mac Jones. So I'm looking at this team like, who's Bill? I think Bill has fallen from grace a little bit.
I disagree. Here's why. If you go back, and we don't get in the weeds too much on it, outside of the Dallas game, which is an outlier, throw it out, they got abused, right? In the first two losses they had before they beat the Jets, they had a chance to win both those games. And that's because of his coaching. There, if you go look, position by position, you got Judon, you got Rodriguez, both got hurt, of course, against Dallas. There's not a lot of talent. I'm sorry, Gonzalez, I apologize. The rookie out of Oregon, the cornerback. There's not a lot of talent there. So they're keeping games close, I think, on the merits of Belichick's coaching. Take away the GM hat from him and tell him just go concentrate on coaching. Or we're going to take both jobs away from you. How do you want to end?
Yeah, so for me, this is a coach that obviously, and I say this so repetitively every time we talk about Bill Belichick, we put his resume in front of everything because of what he's done, what he's provided this organization, his accomplishments. They stand in front of us and they block us from seeing what is clear-cut evidence. He's under 500. Since Brady left.
Right.
No Brady, no success. And I understand that he brought Brady in and then Brady became what he was. But since then, he's struggled to put the talent together. So obviously, we can say that he doesn't wear the GM hat well, but he had to have worn it well because he won when he was doing it. And then when we look at him as a coach, I don't care that you're almost losing these games, or you're barely losing these games, or you're right there in striking distance of winning. The fact that you're not winning is enough for me. I need you to win. This is who you say that you are. This is not what you're doing right now.
Well, I don't know if you want to hear this or not, Craig, but I think there may be a new destination for Bill Belichick, and it's out west. And they have a quarterback. And they have a good defense, supposedly. Well, there's a defense he can revamp, and that's obviously the Chargers.
Yeah.
If he has the opportunity to leave New England, send him out west, play with Justin Herbert. He needs a big-time quarterback. They'll have the offense, and they have the defense.
I agree. And we talked about it earlier this week that Bill Belichick at some point is going to have to make a decision as a man now into his 70s to want to enjoy a solid decade of healthy living and not all the crap that an NFL coach has to deal with, which is very little sleep for about 8, 9 months out of the year and no real lifestyle or family and all that stuff, and you just kind of go off into the Hall of Fame as the greatest coach of all time, the winningest Super Bowl coach of all
Live on
time,
your laurels.
and third overall in wins, which is on the table for him? Or do you want to take one more run at, let me just prove to everybody that when I've got talent, I'm still the best and I can win? Ego tells you do that.
Yep.
You go to the Chargers or somewhere else where you've got a legit quarterback and a good enough defense where your touch now brings them to the promised land. Or you just say, look, I got 6 Super Bowl wins as a head coach. I got how many more as an assistant under Bill Parcells? I'm good. I'm going to learn how to fish and date girls on Instagram, and that's that. I would probably take the latter.
Yeah, right. I like single Bill.
I think this is
That
his
winning,
last year in New England. I really think so.
We got much more coming up, including whether or not it's time for the New York Giants to panic and start looking to find a new destination for Saquon Barkley and a bunch of other players. And I believe we're going to do a little something we call the panic button. Coming up right after this. That's Christian McCaffrey. Some people think he's the most athletic running back in the history of the NFL. I can't say if he is or isn't, but I can tell you this. He's the best running back in football today. That's for damn sure. 4 touchdowns last week, but he's not the only weapon San Francisco has. Here's Mr. McCaffrey saying the same damn thing.
When you have so many dynamic weapons, you kind of feed off each other. One game I might have, good stats. The next, Debo might go off for 150 and Brandon for 150, and there's really no shortage of guys who can make plays on this team.
Yeah, he's right. Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, who you've talked about a lot, is sacrificing his own numbers to be a great blocker and help out Brock Purdy. But we're all those guys, all that great talent that they've got, plus the good offensive line and Williams, the left tackle, right? Here's the thing that gets lost for me, at least in the shuffle. Everyone talks about those guys, the great players, and rightfully so, understand it. But ain't nobody talking about the guy that makes the engine roar. And that guy, give it to me again. That's an American badass right there. You like that? Anyway. Sounded like a bad Harley back in the day. It's Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy is still not getting the love. It's almost like we're waiting for the slipper to fall off and Brock Purdy to become an average quarterback that can't handle the Shanahan offense when he's never lost a regular season game. They have not been held to under 30 points yet this season. And you can look at their opponents, but your players on your schedule, they're going to score 30 against the Dallas Cowboys most likely because that's what they do. And yes, he is the benefactor of a good offensive line, of great talent around him, but the kid's still got to make the right decision. He's got to throw the ball to the open guy. He's got to stand tall in the pocket and all the things that great quarterbacks do, and he does it. So my question to you guys is, when is everyone going to say, hey, man, Brock Purdy's really effing good. He might be the MVP of the league.
Well, yeah, when he was an MC championship, he goes to the Super Bowl. Right now, a lot of pressure's not put on his back like Dak is, right? We just talked about Dak and nauseam, how there's so much on him. It's a win-win, it's a lose-lose. But overall, I look at this team, and Greg can attest to this. This looks like a Super Bowl outfit, not just because of the pieces they have, because every guy on this roster is selfless, right? When you have a selfless roster and teams don't want to say, I don't need the ball this week. If Debo goes off, fine. If Brandon Ayuk goes off, fine. I'm not complaining about it.
Right.
Now, in comparison to what we see out of the Eagles and A.J. Brown, right?
Great point.
If A.J. Brown doesn't get the ball, he's like, hey, look for me. What are you doing? If Stephon Diggs doesn't get the ball, he's complaining. You got Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. They've been playing the last 4 weeks. Not one guy has said they have a problem with the lack of production within the offense. That's a makeup of a team that's ready to win the Super Bowl, and they're hungry for it.
So it's a character play, too, like you said. Not that I shouldn't say that, because I don't know that A.J. Brown's a bad dude. He's probably not.
No, not at all.
But what we're saying is that in this game, what McCaffrey said is right. It's not about, I got to get mine, Jamar Chase, guys talking about, I want more targets, Stephon Diggs, if that actually even happened this offseason with Josh Allen. These guys are just happy being a part of it. Mm-hmm. So, Ayuk misses a game with the shoulder. Debo has 9 catches, right? The next week, Ayuk is back. He has 2 touchdowns, and on and on and on.
Debo didn't touch you last week.
Right. It is a complete team that can beat you every possible way. And while, yes, we talk about the McCaffreys, the Ayuks, the Samuels, and the Kittles, you can't have that level of success without a general leading it. And that general is Brock Purdy.
I'm with you there. He is the one that's leading the charge. However, it's hard for me to identify, it's kind of like the movie Gladiator.
Okay.
When Maximus, like, he was the main attraction. Like, he wasn't the head of authority, but he was like the general. He was the one that everybody responded to. That's Christian McCaffrey. That's Deebo Samuel. That's George Kittle. It's not necessarily Brock Purdy, because we've seen the revolving door at the quarterback position with this team to where Jimmy Garoppolo could be under center, and it's like, oh, this outfit looks great.
Yeah, but here's the difference. He's played 12 games. They've scored 30 points in 10 of them.
I understand that. But when we look at this team, nobody, yourself, thinks that, if Chris McCaffrey wasn't available, would they still look this great? If Brock Purdy wasn't out there, could they still be this team? Yeah.
Well, I'll take it one further. When you talk about the general and the person that puts it all together, I think the common fan would say, oh, yeah, Kyle Shanahan. I think if you line up the players and the people that get credit for this offensive success, I think Brock Purdy's like number 5.
But I'm sorry. I'm gonna carry the flag then and the torch for Brock Purdy. He's not getting the love he deserves, because if he's anybody else, it's all about the great quarterback play in San Francisco, right? No, in Miami. Oh, Tua is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Brock Purdy's never lost. Right, at some point, when does Brock Purdy get the attention nationally that, like, I'm giving him? Because all I see out of that kid is he doesn't make mistakes. And he's the floor general who leads that team to 30 points a game every single time they go out on the field. Brock Purdy's the most important player in the entire offense.
At the end of the day, what makes this team so special and unique is none of them care. And like Brock Purdy, he doesn't care that he's not getting the attention.
Oh, he cares. He's making less than $1 million.
If we put those stats up, again with Brandon Ayuk, Chris McCaffrey, look at the guy at the bottom. We all know who he is,
George Kittle.
But because his willingness to sacrifice being a part of the passing game, like other tight ends, like Kelsey is to Patrick Mahomes, and he could very well be that guy.
Yeah.
But because he's like, you know what? Let me do my job in this manner, which is helping protect, helping and block like no other, which establishes and allows them to have one of the best running games in all of football. These are, and smiles about it. Like he's in the camera acting as though he's caught touchdowns. I know as a receiver, you don't really show that type of emotion and excitement until you get that touchdown. Until you score, until you feel like you've impacted the game.
He's all in.
He's all in.
Because he knows he has a chance to do something he hasn't done, and that's win a Super Bowl. And I would just say one last thing. I know we have other things that you guys want to get to, including the panic button. Coming up in a second, though. Brock Purdy's my MVP of the league right now. And
what are you doing?
We can talk about all the other great talents.
You can't say that out loud.
And I will say this, okay? The one game that Brock Purdy didn't play last year was against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Samuel was there. Ayuk was there. Kittle was there. Williams was there. What happened in that game? They got their asses handed to them because Brock Purdy wasn't on the field. So don't devalue Brock Purdy by talking about the greatness of the other guys. Those guys were all on the field. Brock Purdy got hurt, and they couldn't score a point.
He was the third quarterback that season. So you had nobody else left.
Lose. Greg, he doesn't lose
I get that.
games.
I'm not knocking
Let's
Brock
criticize
Purdy.
him when he loses a football game.
Can happen Sunday.
Anyhow, more of Brock Purdy as I'm carrying the torch for that young man to be the MVP of the NFL. But now there's other teams that are not nearly as good as the San Francisco 49ers. So we'll ask the weekly question, is it time to panic?
Here we have the panic button, and we start with the team. They're 1-3. They just got dominated by the Seahawks on Monday night. Is it time to panic? I ask you, Craig.
Yeah.
For the Giants.
Let me use the football to make my point.
It's time.
Damn right. It's time to panic. The New York Giants might be the worst football team in the NFL right now, and that includes the Chicago Bears. Danny Jones is having a terrible year. Brian Dable's having a terrible year. There's miscommunications. There's no offensive line. They can't run the ball without Saquon Barkley. Darren Waller's wide open, and they don't throw it to him. Paris Campbell's been a disappointment. Sterling Shepard's getting a check to do absolutely nothing. And Evan Neal would rather block his own man than actually block somebody on the Seahawks on Monday night. The New York Giants should panic. I think they are panicking. And if they lose to the Dolphins, and they're 10.5-point underdogs this week down in South Florida, meaning they will, then it's going to be time to do what they wanted to do a year ago and get rid of everybody, clean house, and start again with, oh, by the way, the quarterback that you gave $80 million guaranteed to over the next 2 years because he threw 15 touchdown passes last year. Well, guess what, Giant fans? Your guy, Danny Jones, right now is on a pace this year, 4 weeks into the season, and I'm not making it up. I did the math at home last night. I couldn't sleep. 9 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. Ooh. Top 8 quarterback, my rear end.
All right, moving on to the next one. Willie, this one is for you. They only have 1 loss, but they have not looked like themselves in every single game. Is it time to panic for the Chiefs?
No.
Okay.
Bottom line is Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they beat who they're supposed to be. The valid, there's no things that you want a pretty win. It's options regardless. They end up in the W category. Patrick Mahomes had an ugly game Sunday. I don't think we'll see another game like that out of him. And the Chiefs will be where they need to be, and that's in the AFC Championship this year. So I'm not worried about them at all.
I'm sorry, I don't go to meetings. Did you just ask my dear friend, former NFL star, Willie Colon, if the 3-1 Chiefs should panic?
Yeah.
I thought that too.
It's important for the sake of the segment.
Yes.
Some where people panic and some where people
don't
That's
pick
how it works.
But don't pick a 3-1 team that just won the Super Bowl.
Don't panic.
I apologize,
It's
America.
not time to panic.
I'm sorry. I'm going to start going to meetings.
Okay.
Oh my Lord.
And the production meetings. Okay, I don't even have to set this one up. Is it time to panic for the Patriots? Yes. Yes. The Patriots need to panic. This is going to be Bill Belichick's last year.
A little disrespectful to Greg. He didn't get to go yet.
Moving on, he's going now. I'm setting up for a real one he has to consider. Okay. A week ago today, they were celebrating the historic offense, but then they got beaten by the Bills and exposed. Is it time to panic for the Dolphins?
No. No, why are we? Craig just laid it
This
all
is
out.
for the sake of the segment. We need somewhere we don't panic on.
I mean, Craig just laid it all out. They got the Giants this weekend. We got the Giants panicking because they got the Dolphins.
Right.
This
Dolphins
was
are gonna
a
be
legit question. They're 2-2. They just lost to the Texans, and Mike Tomlin is upset about the offense.
Good, Greg.
Is it time to panic for the Steelers?
There we go. It is time to panic. And as much as I trust and I believe in Mike Tomlin, he just doesn't have the quarterback this year. When I thought that this was the year that Kenny Pickett and his counterparts on the outside were going to get it done. He was going to take the step. He has actually looked worse. And so for me, this offense, they don't have a running game. They don't throw the ball well. What do they do well? If you're going to win games, you have to find your identity of who you are and what you do well. They don't do anything well offensively. Defensively, we obviously know who they are. But yes, it's time for this team to panic.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Najee Harris is not what they expect him to be. I don't know what happened to him. He just lost a step, obviously. Pickett did not make that growth and leap that everyone expected him to, especially after a very good preseason. Haven't heard the name George Pickens once, to be honest, this year, right?
The Pickens campaign is
never happened.
Cold.
And while they do have a very good defense, and the defense that got them a win, I think it was against the Browns, where the Browns actually out-yarded them. The Browns out-yarded them in every category, and because they had 2 turnovers for touchdowns, the Steelers stole that W. Their offense is a real problem. And while I know Mike Tomlin's not a panicky guy, if I'm a Steeler fan, absolutely, I hit that button too. Because thank you very much. No, it's good to see it works. It's a problem in Pittsburgh, and you can't say, oh, well, this guy's coming back, it's going to get fixed. There's no fixing it.
All right, let's go to break, Craig.
Go to break. Look at that. We are a well-oiled machine here on FS1. We've got the craziest fan that we've ever seen at a Tennessee-South Carolina game. And we've got First and Football, Jerry Jones, guaranteeing everybody that the Cowboys are going to be fine. And did the Jets actually turn a corner with their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs? We got the answers for all that right after this. Real quick, Tennessee, South Carolina, just so you want to see this. A fan got arrested at the game, but not for fighting. He just got so excited after a South Carolina touchdown that happened.
Oh, man.
What are we doing?
Sir, there are children here. If you don't mind keeping your pants on during the game. Whatever type of fetish site you go to, keep it at home, please. That's my dude right there. That's college football at its best.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah. And by the way, that guy did not have a single beer at the game.
See, look at that.
Had 23 before the game, but didn't have any beers during the game. Anyhow, that's college football. I love it. That's why we enjoy Big Noon Saturday exclusively on Fox. Yeah, that's the best promo we've ever done.
Yes.
Anyhow, Sunday, of course, the NFL returns, and Jacoby's got your first and football.
First in football, we turn our attention to the big game. That is obviously between the Cowboys and the 49ers. Remember, Trey Lance was traded from the 49ers to the Cowboys. And OC Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys was asked if maybe that's going to be a little bit of an advantage. Here's what he had to say.
Trey knows a little bit about what they're doing. Yeah, the cool thing is, like I said, the team knows them well. I know them well from being in Seattle. Trey knows them well, but like last week, it's kind of in good fun and humor.
Greg, will having Trey Lance, a former backup for the 49ers, be an advantage for the Cowboys?
An advantage? I wouldn't say it's an advantage, but it can definitely help and assist. Just by him being actually in those meetings with Kyle Shanahan, understanding the mentality and the mindset and the approach of a coach like that. Like, you obviously, he had all those weapons. He was running that offense. So he can speak to what he likes to do on 3rd and long, 3rd and short, where he wants to go with the ball. It doesn't mean that it's going to matter. You still are going to have to stop these guys and play the game, but you're going to at least try to give your defense an insight, some type of insight track on this. I experienced it. When I left Green Bay, you don't think it? I was not opposed. I wasn't all about exposing my guys because I still have relationships.
But Greg, here's the
I wanted to give them some.
Can I take this one? Thank you, pal. I'm tagging in on this one. You're a Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer. You were a great football player. If Trey Lance knew the Niner offense, he'd still be running it.
Yes.
So Trey Lance brings nothing to the table.
It's the pointless. Yeah. It's like, why would you talk to a guy who got fired from the job? Like, if you were good enough and confident enough, you'd be running this offense. We wouldn't be talking about Brock Purdy at this point. I don't want to hear from a guy who, by the way, why did you get fired? I couldn't run the office. Oh, thanks. Like, why?
What hand signals do they use, man? I don't know. They didn't teach you.
You tell me you went to Minnesota, and as a great receiver for the Green Bay Packers, you could help out the Minnesota Vikings defense on certain situations. I get it. I respect that. But, I mean, Trey Lance,
he's not the guy I want to talk to.
Right. It's funny you bring that up because I remember just a week ago today, I think you asked Greg or Plaxico or someone the question of, well, is Ezekiel Elliott going to help the New England Patriots out because he knows what Dallas likes to do? And no, he's not.
How'd that go?
And here's the other thing. If the Dallas Cowboys today, with Mike McCarthy being there the last 2 years and having playoff failures against that same exact team, they've damn near not changed a single dude on that roster. If they need Trey Lance to tell them what San Francisco likes to do, they're going to lose the game.
On top of that, imagine Dak. If they lose to the Niners, like, what happened? Well, I was listening to Trey Lance.
Trey told me
about
they just went this way.
You guys are being so dramatic. We know it's not going to be like Trey Lance. But clearly they're going to ask him if there's any little...
I wouldn't ask him anything.
No.
Just be on time for practice.
By the way,
I got this.
Trey Lance, the same guy that lost the backup job to Sam Darnold.
Correct.
That's the guy that you're going to now hit up for information.
He's now being the practice squad quarterback for the defense, and he's not even running that appropriately.
No, it's comical. But look, it's the game that's going to, that's the game. It's the game this weekend. There's a bunch of good games, but that is the game everyone's going to be focused on for sure.
Absolutely. Let's turn our attention to second in football, where we have Garrett Wilson. He was asked about the loss to the Chiefs, and he had a pretty interesting response. Here's what he had to say.
I just know we feel like we took the right step on the offensive side of the ball. I know the defense doesn't feel good about it. We all feel like we should have and could have won. We just didn't take advantage of our opportunities, and some got stolen.
No one's going to say it's a moral victory, but they are talking about some of the positive things that came out of that game. Do you think in a loss that was still an accomplishment for the Jets?
An accomplishment? No, because we're not talking about children. We're talking about grown men who get paid to play football. So I'm with him on we take nothing out of it from a moral standpoint. But here's the frustrating part. What he's saying is right. we could have won that game. I don't want to say should have won that game because that's discounting how good Kansas City can be when they want to be. But they could have won that game. They had opportunities to win that game. They didn't make every play they could have made. Whether that's missing Garrett Wilson on the fly route on the right side down the field, which he misses him by about 1.5 yards. Whether it's C.J. Mosley not intercepting the ball right in his hands in the middle of the field. Whether it's the officiating, if you want to go down that road. The New York Jets proved to themselves and to a fan base that we can hang with the best teams in football. Now you got to get over that hump and beat those teams if you really want to consider yourselves a Super Bowl contender, which no one does right now because we don't have a quarterback that we trust. But we have to acknowledge this. The light bulb went off in some level for both Nathaniel Hackett calling plays and for Zach Wilson behind me quarterbacking for the Jets, standing tall in the pocket, finding open guys, threading the needle on some passes, and just playing smart football. That's what he did. Offensive line played better, bringing in a new right guard and Tippett, putting AVT to right tackle, and Mekhi Becton playing better at left tackle for Dwayne Brown. The Jets improved, no doubt about it. Now, here's the reality. The game this Sunday against the Denver Broncos, which no one outside of Denver, New York, has any interest in watching, and I get that. I do. 1-3, 1-3.
Yeah.
You know, Russell Wilson's done. Zach Wilson, is a clown, all that stuff. The New York Jets saved their season by winning that game. If the New York Jets get to 2-3, their season is very much alive, even with Philly coming up the next week. If they go to 1-4, in my opinion, it is a wrap. They have to beat the Denver Broncos. And to be fair, even though I always see things through the Jet lens, the Broncos are saying the same damn thing. We got off to an 0-3 start. We embarrassed ourselves. It all looked terrible, right? Kansas City's not this unbeatable team right now. The Raiders stink, and the Chargers defense can't be trusted, right? If we beat the Jets, we go to 2-3. We save our season and stay alive, maybe not for the division, but in the wild card hunt. This is a win, and you survive, lose, your season's over game, which is why it's got that added little extra to it. Plus, don't forget the preseason nonsense where Sean Payton attacked Nathaniel Hackett and everything that he did in Denver last year. This is personal now for the New York Jets to protect Nathaniel Hackett.
And on top of that, I think this is a moral victory for Garrett Wilson alone, solely him, because everything we've seen with him on the sideline is him yelling at Zach Wilson, him being disgruntled on the sideline, him feeling like, hey, I'm the star receiver and I'm not getting mine. What Sunday proved is like, hey, I finally got the quarterback I've been looking for. I'm finally in the same accord with the quarterback that I need to produce. I'm finally arrived to a point where I can say, that's my quarterback.
Yep.
We have not heard that thus far. So if you're Garrett Wilson, this is a victory for you, because by everything we've seen on the sideline, with you talking to Randall Cobb or you talking to Al Lazard, the three of you apiece have looked like you've been extremely unhappy with Zach Wilson. So valid they didn't win, what you did say, hey, I now feel like I have a quarterback that I can trust on Sunday.
Yeah, and one quick thing. He had 9 catches, only 60 yards in that game, but they kept targeting him, right? So for a wide receiver who's really good, you want to be in the game. You can't have 3 targets for Garrett Wilson. And while Zach Wilson missed him on that fly route down the right sideline, the fact that he saw him and made the pass, I know it seems childish, is a major game changer for the New York Jets offense. It means they're willing to take shots down the field, and Zach can stand tall in the pocket and get rid of the football in time to try to make a play. I mean, the New York Jets, do you not all see it?
Do you not see it?
Do you not see where this is going?
No. He saw a receiver and threw a bad pass and was celebrating.
But it hit his hand.
He saw a receiver and he threw it towards that receiver.
That's right.
Progress.
Look, I'm just positive. Progress.
Moving on to third and football, we turn our attention to the Steelers. Mike Tomlin was asked about the offensive coaching in the wake of a loss, and he answered that question very directly.
Not good enough. Whenever we don't play well, forget win or lose, whenever we don't play well, as a coach, man, you start there. And so that's where we always start.
Willie, what needs to change for the struggling Steelers?
Matt Canada. That's the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has not met the standard. And you hear the standard coming out of Pittsburgh. They haven't been able to run the ball at an efficient level, The offense is stagnant at best. We have weapons. You have Allen Robinson. You have Pickett. You have Pickens. You have all these pieces that we thought was going to come alive, and it hasn't. And what's more damning out of all of it, and by the way, no rushing touchdown is an embarrassment to even, it's horrible. What's more embarrassing for me is watching that game when I was with Pittsburgh Steelers, we prided ourselves of being the most physical outfit. Like, if we've lost, sure, but you damn sure went home with bumps and bruises and a way to the hospital. This team looks soft, and it's struggling for me to look at a team who I love, and I have a black and gold heart. Because I know Mike Tomlin does one thing. He prides himself on being the bullies on the block. They don't look like the bullies. They look like a team that's been bullied, and they got bullied against a rookie quarterback in the Houston Texans. So I know this week he's going to have the pads on them. They're going to get after each other, and they're going to be ready for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers because of Mike Tomlin. I mean, look at their schedule after the Ravens game this weekend, which I do think they're going to lose because the Ravens are just better in every facet of the game. That gives Tomlin the bye week to get everything back in order. And the guy's done it every year of his coaching career. You've got the Rams, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Packers, the Browns after that, and then the beaten down Cincinnati Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go on a little winning streak here and get back over 500. But Jacoby, I got to bring out the wall receipts. I'll give you another chance to back off of it.
Yeah, let's go.
Accountability is important.
Yeah.
I'm the only person here sitting at this desk that thinks that Mike Tomlin's first sub-500 season will be this season, and I really believe that, and I cannot wait until the end of the season.
Yeah, here's a guy that's never been under 500, has a pretty easy month and a half of football coming up schedule-wise, has a bye week leading into it to get his house in order, which he does maybe better than any coach of the last decade in the NFL, and you think it's going to continue to go south, and you're standing by this prediction. David Jacoby, on October 4th says the Pittsburgh Steelers will finish below 500. Mike Tomlin, when you watch this show, remember who's got your back. I do. Your former player does. And the Packer Hall of Famer. That guy over there is a negative heathen who hates all things.
And he's wearing a black shirt. I'm just telling the truth. We're going to revisit that, and you will all be wrong, and I will be right. And I look forward to it.
Tell him, Jacoby.
There you go. All right. Coming up, I think it's time for the Mountain to come back out.
Yeah! Mountain!
Who are the top 4 teams in the NFC? Who are the top 4 teams in the AFC? It's Mountain time on FS1. All right, welcome back to the Carton Show. It's time for the weekly segment, King of the Mountain.
The Mountain.
It's basically our power rankings, or my power rankings, each week in the NFL. Feel free to comment, disagree, although I think it'll be fine. It's very hard to disagree with my top 4 rankings.
There's a mountain.
All right, let me start off.
Power rankings. There's a mountain involved.
Let me start off with the AFC. Top 4 rankings, here we go. Number 4 in the AFC, I think the best defense in all football. And as you guys always say, defense travels. Well, defense travels, and they're going to get Deshaun Watson back, if not this week, the next week, from that shoulder injury. You saw the Browns without Deshaun Watson, not all that great, even with the defense. Deshaun Watson back, and bang, slap the Browns.
Oh, come on.
Damn it.
Right out that's how you know they shouldn't be there.
There you go.
That's how you know.
Slap the Browns on their first time in 37 years. The Cleveland Browns have been top 4 on my power ranking mountain, okay? Number 3. Well, I tell you, I've been on this team since.
Move the Browns over.
Yeah, move over.
Cover the AFC.
Craig. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, really? Really? All right, number 3. I've been on this team all summer long because I love Lamar Jackson. Todd Monken comes in. A little disappointed, to be honest, with how that offense has started. Odell Beckham being hurt. They haven't had Mark Andrews as a big enough part of the offense until this past week. But I still think the Baltimore Ravens are money good. I think they're going to win the AFC North, and they're going to host a home playoff game. And I would not be shocked if they're hosting an AFC Championship game, because I think the Ravens are that good. Once everyone's healthy, on the same page, when you get into November, that offense is going to be clicking. I've got the Ravens as number 3 in the AFC, which brings me right now to number 2. A little change in the hierarchy right now. A little change in the AFC hierarchy right now. Second in the AFC, the Swifties, the Kansas City Chiefs. There's something wrong with the Swifties this year. Their offense is not clicking on all cylinders. The Jets damn near beat them. He really tried to throw 4 interceptions, not the 2 that he got credit for. And it's just not right. Something feels wrong with the Chiefs, and I recognize at 3-1. They're going to win their division. They're going to have a home playoff game. This will be the first year that Patty Mahomes has to win an AFC Championship game on the road. He's never had to do it. This will be the first year. And right now, because that offense is not clicking, I had to knock them down a notch to number 2. Don't cry, Kansas City. Number 2's okay. Cindy Crawford graduated second in her high school class. Things worked out for her. Here we go, right now.
What?
True story. The king of the mountain in the AFC, Orchard Park, New York, the Buffalo Bills.
My Bills!
The Buffalo Bills obviously had egg on their face after week one, losing that game to the New York Jets. But remember when Josh Allen came out and said, I like the way this feels. It empowered Josh Allen to stop being the guy that cost them victories by being careless, not just in the red zone, but by trying to force footballs to your wide receiver who's going to give you a lift if he doesn't get 15 targets.
Yeah.
He corrected that bang right after week one with the 3 picks and the fumble. And the Bills' offense has been humming ever since week one. And you saw what they did last week at home against the Miami Dolphins. They dropped a 48 burger on them. And oh, by the way,
thank you.
Since we only talk about, offense, the Bills' defense stopped the best offense in football. The Buffalo Bills right now are the top of the mountain in the AFC.
Thank you, Craig.
Now, before I get to the NFC, I know what a lot of you are saying at home. Oh, but Craigie, what about those Dolphins? I'm not a bad guy. I'll base camp the Dolphins. They're in the conversation. I'll base camp them. And, oh, by the way, what about the resurgent Jets? I know you're saying it.
Resurgent.
That's right. I'll base camp the Jets, too. So they're waiting. Any one of these teams slips and pop. They go right into the top four.
Explain to me why the Dolphins aren't in the Browns.
Yeah,
because they just got abused by the Buffalo Bills, and that defense is an Achilles heel. You're not going to win the Super Bowl giving up 30 points a game. You're just not. So I understand if you guys want to change it on your own time. All right. NFC. Should I do NFC?
Yeah.
Keep going, Craig. All right, NFC. Number 4. I'm starting with America's team, the Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboys. Why are they 4th? I have no issues with the way Mike McCarthy's calling the offense. I like it. He's getting rid of the ball, Dak Prescott is, in under 2.5 seconds, meaning we don't want him to think too much. We don't want him in the pocket, going to the second, the third, the fourth guy. Read it, throw it, go. And I like that. I think it's paid dividends thus far for the Cowboy offense. They're 4th and not top 3 because of the way Arizona ran the ball against them. If you can't stop the run, especially when we get to November, December, January, you're going to have a very hard time getting your defense off the field and winning games. So I think the Cowboys are really good. There's no doubt they're a playoff team, but I've got them at number 4. At number 3, right now, what's up, cheesesteaks? I got the Philadelphia Eagles. I know you're saying we're undefeated. You just hate Philadelphia. Why aren't we number 1 or number 2? I'll tell you why. You haven't looked good.
That's
You
fair.
haven't looked good.
That's fair.
In every game you've played but one this year, there was a shot of maybe they give up a bad backdoor cover loss, that type of thing. Jalen Hurts is not playing the same level he played last year. They do run the ball great. Best offensive line of football. Really good team. I don't believe in them 100% yet to win close games against teams that have badass offenses. So they're 3rd, but I can't put them 1 or 2. Sorry, Philly. 3rd's where you're at right now. Number 2. It seems like I've adopted this team in the NFC. They did last week what good teams do. They beat bad teams. The Detroit Lions are the second best team in the NFC. They've got a badass quarterback who has a hot fiance. What's up, Christian Harper? I got you. They've got a really good coach that everybody's bought into. Aaron Glenn's running a great defense, very aggressive. They've got a dude who can get to the quarterback as well as Aaron Donald used to in his prime. And Detroit's that good. And you're going to see Detroit win a lot of football games. Why are they not number 1? Because they're not as complete as the team I know you're not going to disagree with me on. The best team in all of football, for my money right now, San Francisco, top of the mountain, the best team in football, and number 1 in the NFC. I got no base campers for you in the NFC, but those are your rankings in the AFC and the NFC. Don't get up, Biggs. Don't get up. Don't get up.
Listen, America, it's time to get this right, all right? Craig doesn't know what he's talking about. We got the AFC. The Browns suck, right? That's the bottom line. I don't care about the Browns. Deshaun Watson didn't play. He wasn't ready for the fight. And if you got the number 1 defense and you got the Baltimore Ravens coming to town, you dominate. You know what you did? You lost. So you suck. So you know who I have? How about the Chargers, right? Justin Herbert. There was a play Sunday.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert ran out of bounds, and he was like a late hit by the Raiders. You know what that team did? Not the offensive line. The team came to the rescue, and they damn near decapitated that young man for the Raiders. That's the time. That's a team that's ready to win. That's ready to get it done. Get the Dolphins out. Hold on, I'm gonna use the Dolphins soon.
Okay.
Hey, stop! Get back here. So Chargers is at number 4. Here we go. Number 3. I have the Dolphins, man. Listen, Tua.
Okay, thank you.
Tua, I'm all over the place. Tua still putting up points. It was an ugly loss against the Bills, but they're still putting up points at a high level. The defense has to get better, and we'll see what happens. At number 2, I got the Buffalo Bills.
There you go.
What?
The Buffalo Bills, MVP.
Who's number 1?
MVP right now, Josh Allen. They got Von Miller coming back. Big loss to Tre'Davious White, but they're still putting up points at a high level. It takes the man to beat the man, the Bills beat the man, the Miami Dolphins. Top of the mountain, Kansas City Chiefs. Bottom line, 4-0. They winning ugly, but they're still winning. That's what the bottom line. You continue to win, you deserve to be at the top of the mountain. So this is my 4. That's what I got right there. Now, this is going to surprise you, America.
Wait, hold on.
What's
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's got Kansas City up there,
Because they're what? 4-0?
3-1.
They're 3-1.
Oh, 3-1. Excuse
So do you want to change them now?
No. They're still there.
You're positive?
3-1 too.
No, we're short on time, guys. Shut up. So,
Go.
this is going to shock. How about the Bucs? First in the division, Todd Bowles led. Baker Mayfield's your guy.
He's my guy.
They beat the Saints this weekend. Mike Evans did suffer an injury, but hopefully he'll be back.
Okay.
He'll be fine. At number 3, I got them Eagles. Cheesesteak. I like that there. You keep that. Number 2, this may shock some people, but I got the Cowboys.
Okay.
I got the Cowboys at number 2. Dak still playing well. Defense is playing well. The guy getting in the red zone. And number 1, I agree with you, Craig Carton. The most complete team, the best team in football, the San Francisco 49ers.
There you go. It's only week 4 going into week 5. Greg, I know you have some thoughts on it, but like you said, we're just running out of time.
Yeah.
And
I
unfortunately,
the opportunity to switch the lines out for the Bucs. You have that opportunity right now.
First in the division. Todd Bowles got to play football down south.
The NFC South. Nobody cares.
The Lions are
They're
first in
winning.
a better division.
They're first in the division.
So
they are 3-1.
Oh, and the Lions must be last in their
Lions
division.
are in their division? Yeah.
When it's your turn to take on the mountain, we'll listen.
Well, we didn't get a turn.
Well, sorry, we got to go to commercial, Greg.
No, you're not. You're not sorry.
You know, it's funny. When we stand up, he's so much bigger than me. All right, we got much more coming your way. Cowboys-Niners is on Sunday. That is, of course, the big NFC game of the week. Who's got the edge right now, though? The undefeated Niners or the one-loss Dallas Cowboys? Jerry Jones has a thought or two on it. We'll get into all that right after this on FS1.
Look at the mountain. Good to look at the mountain.
Good morning and welcome back to the Carton Show. We have your headlines and we start with the biggest game for Week 5. That is the matchup between the 49ers and that man's team, the Cowboys. Jerry Jones had something interesting to say in front of this big game. Let's listen to the owner of the Cowboys.
They are right now probably the most likely team to go in the Super Bowl. And but in order for them to get there, they've got to go by us. Hopefully 2 times, if that's the way it falls in the playoffs, and we're in the playoffs.
So they're the most likely team to win the Super Bowl, but they have to get through us and maybe twice.
Yeah.
Do you think this game determines who the favorite in the NFC will be?
I mean, you're discounting Philadelphia if I say yes to that, and I can't do that because Philly's undefeated also. They play the Rams this week in L.A., so that'll be an interesting game. But I think if the Niners win the game, then it's very clear they are the best team in all football, not just the NFC. If the Cowboys win, it changes the entire landscape, I think, in the dynamic of who is the team to beat. Because then the Cowboys could certainly lay claim to it, having just knocked Goliath off the mountain, right? Yep. Philly's going to say, hey, what about us? Worst case, we're 4-1. Best case, we're 5-0. Can't discount the Super Bowl runner-up who starts off the year 4-0 as of right now. But it's interesting to me, this matchup, because if I'm Jerry Jones, I don't want to see them in the playoffs. Right? And I always say I want the easiest road to a championship, not the most difficult road to a championship. So this game, while it does mean a lot in the moment, this game may help determine home field advantage, 3 months from now. But this game alone is not going to determine who goes to the Super Bowl out of the NFC, recognizing how important being at home for the championship game is. But it's one of those weird deals where If San Francisco wins, the rhetoric's going to be, see, they own Dallas. They've owned them for the last few years. Back-to-back playoff wins against them. Dak Prescott can't blah, 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 blah. San Fran. And what Dak Prescott couldn't get done. If the Cowboys win this game, though, they're not going to get the same level of love that San Fran's going to get. Because here's what the story is going to be. Oh, great that you beat San Francisco in October, but you can't beat them in January. So wake me up when you have a playoff game against San Fran in either building and beat them then, and then I'll anoint you as a great team or a potential championship team. And that really lands on Dak's shoulders more than anybody else. Dak Prescott could throw for 350, 5 touchdowns, no picks, and it'll be celebrated in the moment. But right after the celebration will be the question, can he do it in January?
100%, especially talk about this game being in Levi Stadium. A lot is stacked against Dak. Dak has to win this game solely because it's against Brock Purdy, and the Niners have owned him. But if I'm Dak Prescott, it's not about just winning this game. It's about making a statement.
Let me stop you there.
have to have a stat.
Just a question for you guys, because when you bring that up, I don't think he has to win the game. I think he can't be the reason they don't win the game. If they lose 35-32 and the Cowboy defense gets shredded by McCaffrey, Ayuk, Samuel, Purdy, and all that, then it's not on Dak.
Well,
right?
they do have to win the game because we know there's deficiencies on the defensive side, right? And the only deficiency on the offensive side is about getting in the red zone. He's being paid to wear the cape. We talk about the cape all the time.
Yeah.
The quarterback that makes the difference and kind of master mistakes. He has to be that guy, especially against a quarterback who, by all accounts, is called Mr. Irrelevant. Now, he's been playing so well, we don't even acknowledge him as that. But Dak has to have the upper hand in this battle. If he doesn't, you now have to start questioning who is Dak Prescott and what does he mean for the Cowboys moving forward.
You've experienced this before, Greg, especially with Mike McCarthy, right? Whatever the bugaboo was for him in Green Bay, can you beat this team or that team? San Fran, of course, was a bugaboo for a lot of those games. NFC Championship games, his playoff games. It's a weird spot because I think you agree with me on this, where they can't win. Dallas. They can win the game, and the question's going to be, or the statement's going to be, yeah, big deal. You beat them in October. They beat you the last 2 times in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You said it earlier in the show about this being a validation game.
Yep.
This being a game where they get confidence and understanding that we can definitely go into their building and beat them. We just have to find a way to do it when it matters most, and that's in the postseason when they haven't been able to do it. And this is not just the Dallas Cowboys versus the San Francisco 49ers. This is Mike McCarthy versus the 49ers,
right.
too.
That's right.
Because his record, when you look at him and his success across the league, he has a ton of regular season wins. Where he starts to falter is in the postseason. And his nemesis, his kryptonite, so to speak, has been the 49ers. When he was in Green Bay, I was there, and I'll tell you this. They pretty much dismantled our team. Like I remember it vividly, sitting on that bench on the sideline and just watching Colin Kaepernick run all through us. And I'm sitting next to Donald Driver, and I'm like, "You think this is it?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I think this is it." And I'm like, "I don't know if I'll be back next year." And so the team looked completely different. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they have an opportunity to do something special. It starts, like Jerry said, with this team, because this is the team that you both have on the top of the mountain.
Number one.
And they deservingly need to be there. But the Dallas Cowboys, if there's a team that can put them or slide them out of that slot, it's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's funny to me that you sat on the sideline of that game. That was the big Kaepernick game back in 2012.
I just said that. You don't.
Yeah, but
just stuff.
I just said it.
I know, but you don't I think we need to go back there.
We gotta go to our next headline.
I got to ask this question because you're sitting on the sideline. You gave up? You quit?
That's what it sounded like. I didn't want to.
Hey, is it over?
I would have never asked that question on the sideline. In the shower, maybe. Yeah.
No, I didn't quit. I just recognized it was over.
Yeah.
Like you felt it, you knew it.
I knew it was over.
Yeah.
I knew it was over.
Yeah, and then you went to Minnesota. Yeah, maybe not the best choice.
I mean, it kind of, I guess, yeah.
I got you, though. I understand. Like, this is a big game for Mike McCarthy. This is a big game for Dak Prescott, individually, because you put that stat up there. The only positive thing I'll say about that stat, since he is 500 against San Francisco in his coaching career, 5 of the 6 losses were by 1 score. Right? So it's not like San Francisco blows out Mike McCarthy coach teams. They typically play very close games when the McCarthy team loses, right? Now, the problem, of course, is when it matters the most, he's never beaten them. So I respect that out of it. But I think it's more about Dak Prescott than Mike McCarthy. We're waiting. America seemingly is waiting for Dak Prescott to fail. We're waiting to pounce on him. Heck, we have a Dak Prescott cutout with gold chains to put around his neck when he throws an interception. We are waiting for Dak Prescott not to be the guy. And that amount of pressure is crazy, but that's real. Like if the Niners win and Dak throws 2 interceptions, I know it's going to be on this show and every show on the network. Dak Prescott can't be trusted. Right. Dak Prescott's not a winner. Dak Prescott's not a franchise quarterback. And Jerry Jones will probably be leading the charge of that if he throws a couple picks. So I can't wait to see how Dak Prescott performs against San Fran in this new offense. If you have not watched the Cowboys this year, I know a lot of the names are the same. It is a different offense. It is a fast offense. The ball is out of his hands. Pop, 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 pop. And they've been successful with it.
And they've been able to do it with a lot of you're talking about Brandon Cooks now being there. You're talking about Michael
Where has
Gallup.
he been?
He hasn't been there, but now at least hopefully he can come alive. But I think for Dak right now, moving forward, man, it's just win, get in the red zone, and let everybody else talk. Let the tape defend yourself. Let your tape be your defense.
Yep.
Because at this point, he's going to be picked apart a million times over. But when you put it on tape, let that speak for you. Hopefully you can do it against the Niners defense.
Move on to our second headline, and that involves a gentleman by the name of Aaron Rodgers. We all know he has a well-documented, unique approach to his lifestyle, but he also has a unique approach to rehabbing after the recent surgery. Here is what he had to say.
Listen, there's nothing normal about how I'm attacking this rehab. There is common practices about 6 weeks in a boot, and I was in a shoe in like 13 days. Again, this is just my mindset, and I believe in the power of intention. I believe in prayer.
He believes in intention. He believes in prayer. And he also believes that he could potentially come back and play this season for the New York Jets. Do you think that would happen?
I mean, I believe in prayer too, but I pray for a lot of things that, I mean, the lottery's $1 billion, I ain't going to win it,
yep.
Right? Look, he's just a different guy, right? If you told me that Aaron Rodgers played a football game this regular season, that would be one of the most dramatic turnarounds from an injury that we've seen other players suffer from who take at least 10 months, if not a full year plus, to come back and walk on to an NFL field. The difference with this guy is that he's different. He's not in a walking boot. He's right. He's in a shoe. He looked like he was doing pretty well. He had only a sleeve on the first video, going out to get a cup of coffee that we saw out in California. I wouldn't say that this guy can't do anything, because maybe he can. I will say this. The attitude's great. The recovery's great. You guys have spoken about how lonely and depressing recovery from injury can be for a pro athlete, because you're not with the guys. It's a lot of alone time, a lot of hard work and tears and all the stuff that comes from rehabbing an injury. But he seemingly is ahead of schedule. His doctors permitted him to get on a plane and fly across the country and be on the sideline pregame, which most guys would not be allowed to do based on the level of recovery they're at in an injury. And if you told me that all the Jets have to do is stay close to 500 through the month of November and we get that guy back, man, I'm all in. I'm all in. So memo to Zach Wilson, be the guy. Keep us around 500. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not saying you got to go 7-2 or anything like that. But you got to beat the Denver Broncos. Because if we lose to the Denver Broncos, I would call Aaron up and say, slow your roll on recovery. You ain't playing till next year, because we got nothing to play for in December and that first Sunday in January. If, though, you beat the Denver Broncos, I recognize the Eagles are on deck. Very tough game. We've never beaten Philadelphia. I can give you the loss right now. I can live with that 2-4. I can suck 2-4 up. I can slurp it right now. Because after that game, my schedule gets easier. So I'll slurp up the 2-4 start. I got no problem. The Giants stink. The Chargers have no defense. The Raiders players are quitting. We already beat the Bills. The Dolphins have no pass defense. The Falcons don't have a quarterback. The Texans are okay, but not great. The Dolphins come back again. Same crap with them. Washington will be eliminated by then. The Cleveland Browns, I'll even give you that game because their defense is so good. And then we get into the playoffs with a Week 19 win or 18 win against the New England Patriots, and we end the losing streak, and we get into the playoffs, and we end the career of William Steven Belichick as Patriots general manager.
Amazing.
What's up?
Clearly, there's something wrong with you. If you're rolling off wins like that,
that's what we do.
Clearly, there's
It sounds
something.
like the only challenge would be the Texans. Like the Texans, like, all right, they're good.
The Texans,
but the
I mean,
Bills, no.
By the
Dolphins,
way, put that schedule back up 1 second.
You gave
If
Texans
everything
to win
happens
to
the way I
Browns.
said, I'll give you. We lose to the Eagles. New York win, Chargers win, Raiders win, blah, blah, blah. By the way, when I get to week 17, that Browns game that I just gave you the W on, Aaron Rodgers makes his return. What's up? What's up?
The stash
Or
is back.
even better. Even better. Let me give you even better theater. Because I know you guys love movies.
We love
You're
theater.
Hollywood guys, right? When you were a kid, you used to loiter outside a Blockbuster video waiting for the latest release to come out. How about this? I'm standing right now. That's right. I'm standing again, America.
The old Craig is back.
Because here's the reality. If Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, it's against the New England Patriots in Week 18 to get the Jets into the postseason. And then at that point, guess what? Ain't nobody going to want any piece of the New York Jets come playoff time. That's the storybook ending.
That's
that
theater.
keeps us afloat. We stay right in the mix. And we need a win in Week 18 against New England to end Belichick and to take my team to a playoff.
That's right, America. Great job.
Is it? I mean, earlier
at best
job,
6 and
Craig.
10. Like at best 6 and 10 going into that.
Shuffle.
literally about 40 minutes ago, you were saying he was coming back Black Friday.
Well, I said, give him more time. Give him some more time. Give him some more time. Look, he's already way ahead of schedule. Zach Wilson figured out how to play quarterback. The Broncos stink. Let's just take it 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
I could be a 1 week at a time guy. I could be that guy for you. Let's beat Denver, and each week collectively we'll celebrate the Jets' successes.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
Because don't forget this. When the Jets win on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, your preseason Super Bowl pick, if you need reminders, I can bring it out.
No, I don't need.
I can bring it out.
You pick him when
You said, I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to bring it out.
It was
I'm
my
gonna bring it
dark
out.
horse.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it out.
Yeah. No, that's why we have the wall of receipts.
I can bring it out. By the way, where is it? Right here.
Yeah.
The Greg Jennings said the Broncos are Super Bowl contenders. Trash. That's what that is. Yeah.
And Craig Carton said the Jets are Super Bowl contenders. Trash.
Just now, he said
You know
that
what?
too. Yeah.
We'll talk off the air. What else you got?
Moving on to our third and final headline. There is no sugarcoating it. Mac Jones has been bad so far this year. Patriots offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien had this to say about his struggles. He said, quote, "Some of the decisions he made were uncharacteristic of Mac. He's just trying to make a play. I think you'll see a lot of improvement going forward. I personally believe that this will be Mac's last season as a starting quarterback for the Patriots. He might even make it through the season. What do you think, Mr. Carton?"
Yeah, I mean, the first part I agree with. I don't think he's their starting quarterback beyond this year. Just he hasn't played very well, so you can't go down a fourth year, right, with Mac Jones. I also think he's not going to start every game this year because he hasn't played well. And I don't care if they're out of the playoffs or not. You know, everyone in that locker room, including the coaching staff and Bill Belichick, who is the best coach of all time, as much as we bust his chops on this show, you know, you have pride. You know, you also have 52 other guys that get paid in that locker room that you have a responsibility to, plus the 80,000 fans that pay a lot of money to watch the product who've been, like, you know, lived a charmed life from a fan standpoint with all the Super Bowls and all the big games they've had in New England. But you can't keep going to the well. Like, at some point, you have to acknowledge this kid's not a franchise quarterback. Mac Jones is going to have a 20-year career in the NFL as a backup Colt McCoy-type quarterback who can come in a spot and look competent. He's not an incompetent quarterback, but he's not the guy. You know, there's not a lot of talent around him. That's one defense I'll give the kid. But the way he looked against the Dallas Cowboys, he looked like he's never played NFL football before, and that's a problem when you're going into, you know, this many years in an NFL career. My bigger story though out of New England is the smoke that I was told last night that Robert Kraft is beside himself.
Of course.
Over 80 years old. He put out a public edict before the season began that not making the playoffs was unacceptable. He didn't even say you have to win a Super Bowl. He said we have to we have to get into the playoffs this year. So I'm hearing rumors now, or at least smoke out of New England, that while he's not going to embarrass Bill Belichick and he's not going to fire and make a public thing of it, he is going to take away the general manager tag. Now, Bill Belichick could very easily say that I'm out. I want both, or I don't do this anymore. I want total control. But the reality is this: William Stephen Belichick is about to lose his job as general manager of the New England Patriots. Will Bill Belichick agree to stay on as head coach without William Belichick as the general manager? There he is right there.
Oh, yeah. There's two different guys.
A young, handsome Andy Reid on the right. That being said, that's an ego play. I remember, Mike Holmgren. If you don't give me both jobs, I'm not staying around. I want to control everything. And the reality of that is Belichick's the only guy that was ever really successful over a long period of time doing both jobs. You need two people to do two jobs. And I think Robert Kraft's gotten to the point where, how many more winless seasons, how many more under 500 seasons?
There you go.
How many more non-playoff seasons am I going to tolerate as the owner?
Yeah, for me, it's more when I look at this struggles of the New England Patriots. It's not about Bill Belichick primarily in his coaching. He's underperformed, if you ask me. I don't care if general manager he's underperformed, coaching he's underperformed because he's never had a great total roster. He's just had the quarterback.
Yep.
And right now, he doesn't have the quarterback. And so when you look at what O'Brien is saying about McCorkle Jones, it is who he is. I'm sorry. This is what we're seeing is what Mac Jones is. He is not he's not an elite quarterback. He will never be an elite quarterback. And that's what Bill Belichick is charged against. Finding a guy.
Yeah. This is what we have to notice too. Like Bill at GM has failed Mac Jones, right? Because Mac Jones had a great rapport with Jacoby Myers and he brought in Juju Smith.
Yep.
You don't even know who Juju Smith is even on the team sometimes. And on top of that, Josh Davis was supposed to be the guy. He's gone. Bill O'Brien's not the guy. So
and I know I speak for all of America outside of New England. They can't lose enough.